Welcome to Horror Cinema Obsession. Here, we dive deep into the chilling depths of horror cinema, from the critically acclaimed scares to the laughably ludicrous, and even the delightfully obscure. Now, let's join our hosts, Richard and Angelus, as they share their love, laughs, and sometimes sheer disbelief at the world of horror movies.
All right. How is things going? How is my beautiful co-host?
Things is going good. How are you? How are you on this fine evening?
I'm doing great, despite the movie we had to endure this week, but I digress. But no, I'm doing good. This week was kind of long for me, but I got through it. I slogged through the work week.
Job.
Yeah. Nothing too exciting, nothing too high, nothing too low. How about you?
It was another week. Nothing crazy.
And another one.
And another one. I fucking hate DJ Khaled.
Oh.
Sorry.
My bad. No. So your week, it was just kind of
It was stressed. It was busy.
You're stressed?
It was like 2 steps forward, 4 steps back at times, but
Damn.
Friday's over.
It's Friday.
Thank goodness.
Yep, TGIF, baby. Thank God it's Friday. Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm excited for the weekend. We might go to Sasquatch Fest. Shout out Medellin Falls.
And then
I'm trying to get Angelus to be a believer. And she's just not digging Sasquatch. It's crazy. What is the lore that you grew up with?
La Llorona.
Oh, dang. Yours is more intense.
El Chupacabras.
Oh, the Chupacabra. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The things that'll eat your face and just like...
No, Chupacabra sucks your blood.
Dang.
Specifically goat's blood. That's why it's called a Chupacabra. It's a goat sucker.
Oh, well, who cares?
That's what it translates to.
Oh, okay.
And then the most terrifying thing ever is La Llorona. And I'll come and take your little children.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, cool.
So
Do
La Llorona beats Sasquatch?
I guess. That's intense. Sasquatch, yeah, he can be a little scary. And
I think he hides a lot. I think he's camera shy.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to be antisocial.
They have a whole TV show, Sasquatch Hunters, or what are they called? Squatch Hunters.
Squatch Hunt something. Oh my gosh. Do you remember that video I sent you on YouTube about this very dedicated people that go looking for Sasquatch? And then Andrew.
Oh,
it used to be called All Gas No Breaks, a YouTube channel. Now he has his own channel at Channel 5 News on YouTube.
Yeah.
But there was a whole interview with looking for Sasquatch, and it was freaking to die for. It's funny.
I'll have to rewatch it. Watched that a long time ago.
Yeah. I watch it at least once every few months.
And it makes you laugh.
It does. It makes me tee-hee.
Guys, I apologize. One was distracted. Dogs are barking outside, and I'm hoping someone that's in the house is going to let them in because they know we're recording, but bear with me if you hear the background. It's a little annoying. It's high pitched, but hey, it's okay. We're rolling with it. Hopefully we can edit that out.
Are you done with your diva moment?
We are, yeah. Just rules, man. I don't ask for much.
You don't ask for much? Yeah, you do.
No.
You lying sack of potatoes.
Whatever. Hey.
What?
A big thing this week. Papa Jose. I met him.
You did, and you survived.
I know. I was so intimidated. The guy's a legend.
He's so chill.
You told me, bawling things about him. He's just a legend, man. So I was, intimidated to meet him, but super nice guy. It was funny. He's like, I introduced myself. And he's like, no, habla inglés.
He's like, just so you know.
I'm like, I figured.
We're shaking hands. But if you say anything else.
Good guy, though. Good guy. And then, of course, to top it off, Maria's cooking. Amazing.
Amazing.
So,
How do you feel about this, bi-weekly family dinners that are
by
happening?
weekly? Dude, it's weekly, almost daily. I'm like, God damn. I'm like, I gotta make every dinner. You guys live out in the middle of nowhere. It takes like a day and a half to
It
travel.
takes 20 minutes.
No, it's worth it every time. I like eating the food, so no, it was cool. We got to mingle, and then yeah, I was stoked. I'm officially in the family. I got to meet your grandma, and I met your grandpa. So
Yeah, there you go.
big deal, big deal.
Big deal. Who's next?
I don't know. You tell me.
I don't know. I'll drag you to Moses Lake and do another huge family reunion and just put you on the spot.
So stressful.
I'm kidding.
Dude, the thing is, it wouldn't be as bad, but you have to like literally introduce yourself to everybody, shake everybody's hand, acknowledge everybody, acknowledge everybody when you get there, and then when you leave. It's like, fuck, man, I just want to roll out. I'm an introvert.
Nope, you're gonna spend like 20 minutes telling everyone it was great to see you.
I know. So you got to plan, like, let's say you're trying to leave around 6. You got to start planning like, 4:30. I better start saying my goodbyes.
Look at an hour and a half. You're gonna do a recap of the entire day.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Vienna told me the rundown. She's like, "Oh, dude, it's gonna take forever." I'm like, "Oh shit," and she wasn't joking.
Dramas.
That was hilarious. Anyways, before we get to the movie that we're covering, a little bit of business to get through.
We're putting business on the front.
Oh yeah, party in the back, baby.
Woo woo.
Raising hell, praising Dale. Woo-wee. Anyways, do you want to talk about it?
I talk about it. Just a reminder, we have like 2 weeks left of the giveaway ongoing. We'll close it out at the end of the month in case anybody else wants to participate. Just
what are the rules?
Follow our Instagram page or the TikTok page. Leave a comment, either your favorite horror movie, franchise, worst movie that you hate, or your favorite movie that we've covered so far. And give the post a like wherever you found it, either on Instagram or
pretty
TikTok.
Pretty simple. Cool. And already we're having a pretty good participation. The reminder, the giveaway that we're doing, we're going to announce the winner July 1st. I believe that next episode, July 1st, will be the giveaway. And the prize that we're giving is pretty cool. It's a Blu-ray copy of Poltergeist 3, our 10th episode. Mm-hmm. We thought it was fitting. We love it.
It is.
Kill in.
We enter double digits.
Double digits, baby. What is this, episode 12?
Yes, it is.
Oh, shit, man. We are rolling.
On a dozen.
Mm-hmm. A dozen. Okay, cool. Well, with that being said, let's wrap that up. Let's close that tab. What movie are we covering this week?
So we put out a poll a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. We gave 4 options, and the majority ruled It Follows 2014, rated R.
Yeah.
The STD demon.
Yeah, ST demon. So I never seen this movie. I know about the movie. Every time I went there, it was just not an opportunity. Every time I'd go to watch it, someone I'd be hanging out with would be like, "Oh, no. I don't want to watch that. I don't want to do that." I'm like, what the fuck? So every time it was just a missed opportunity. But this time I'm glad that it got voted, or else I probably wouldn't have picked it and we probably wouldn't have watched it. So what were your initial thoughts, and when did you see this first?
I watched this a few years ago, and it was not my favorite.
Coming in hot.
It was not the first time I watched it was not my favorite. I was like, I don't know. I was expecting more, to be scared more. I don't know. I had heard about what it was. I guess it was mostly curiosity. Mm-hmm. And it was meh. And then I rewatched it again this week twice.
How'd you feel about it? With fresh adult eyes.
I was an adult when this came out.
Well, older adult eyes.
Adult eyes. Same-ish. And then I did a little bit of research, saw what the director was kind of going for, and I was like, okay. I'll give him a little bit more credit for the movie, but I don't know. I'm conflicted by the reviews and what I watched.
Okay, so I'm glad I'm not the only one. This movie, it's, for me, initially, when I watched this, it's a take it or leave it for me. Like, is it terrible? No. Is it good? I'd be hard pressed to say it's good. All I'm saying, it's middle of the road. It's meh. Now, I will say, initially watching this, it is beautifully shot. I love the wide angle lens. I love the retroness that it's using. I love the music that they used. At times, it was jarring and very effective. So there's elements to this movie that I really like. But that being said, it's not enough to get me over the hump. Like this, I can't express it enough. Like everybody, like this is like people were praising this movie. Everything I read, people still praise it. I'm the odd man out on this. It sounds like you are too. This movie is a modern day piece of shit. Like,
whoa!
We covered Friday the 13th Part 7 New Blood last week. We covered Critters 3. This just is that kind of level, but with a new, sheen on it. Like it's just modern. So like, I don't know. For me, I'm not going to say it's an all out piece of shit. It is in the middle of the road is what I'm saying.
This is Richard's opinion.
It's middle of the road for me. I don't even care. That's me. I watched this movie 2.5 times and it was just
2.5. I think this movie is one of those, like, there's some movies where you hear the premise, the theme, and what it is, and it's like curiosity, watch it, like get it out of the way, see what the fuzz is about, and then kind of, move on from there. I can see after doing my research why some people are so hyped up about it. I think also the problem, you and I have watched so many scary movies that are way more gruesome than this. So this like specific topic and the way that this movie carried on, it wasn't so
we're desensitized.
It was a little bit more slower and there wasn't as much.
So that's kind of the thing initially, and we'll talk about it more obviously, but like the pacing of this movie for me was terrible. The pacing was not there. I get it. I have ADD. I'm fast paced. Boom, 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 boom. I'm always like that, right? But even a slower paced movie can be good if it's deep. This is very surfacey though. This is not deep. The characters are not like, you don't get in depth with the characters. You get like Jay, the lead character. Yeah, you get more of her, but the rest of the cast, you got nothing, which is fucking crazy. So
it's not about them.
I don't know. We'll break this down and we'll have a little bit more into it. But yeah, initially I'm in the middle of the road. This is meh. But that being said, doesn't mean it can't be a good podcast. So please listen. Don't tune out.
Don't listen to Richard.
Oh,
it's gonna be a great episode.
Or both of us.
No, I don't think it's a pile of poo-poo.
Pile of shit?
No, I think it deserves its roses, as Richard would say.
Deserves its roses?
Yeah. It definitely has its targeted audience, and I don't think that we're it.
No. Yeah. I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, that being said, this movie, it had a production budget of approximately $1 to $2 million, so not much at all in today's standards. But the film did gross around $20.6 million worldwide. It was quite successful given its modest budget and garnered a lot of critical acclaim for its originality and atmosphere. So, again, this was released in 2014. Still, $1 to $2 million ain't shit considering like Friday the 13th. Wasn't that made for like $7 million?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, like this didn't get a budget at all, which is amazing. And how they shot this was really good, and just the visuals were great. So I thought they did a pretty good job there with the budget.
Yeah. So initially, it was released. It had a limited release. But again, due to its success, it got a wide
traction.
release. Yeah.
So along with this one, I'll just lead off and you can cover the horror movies that came out. But the biggest movie and the biggest draw of 2014, the blockbuster, was Transformers: Age of Extinction. Now, is that the third one?
Oh, that's like the fourth or fifth, probably.
I think it was the third one. With Shia LaBeouf, it was like the last, wasn't it? Maybe not.
I have to
could be
see what
wrong.
the cover looks like.
Yeah, I can't remember. Maybe it is with Mark Wahlberg. I can't remember. But yeah, no, and that one grossed 1.1 billion
Oh, shit.
globally. That's fucking insane.
That is insane.
Ah,
Did you watch it?
oh yeah, I've seen all the Transformers. I'm a nerd.
Oh.
Oh.
Did you watch the cartoon too?
Yeah, 1986.
Oh,
It
okay,
came out.
okay,
I loved it
sorry.
when I was a child. And the cartoon series was good too.
I
Anyways,
adore
what are some notable horror movies that were released in 2014
Dude,
alongside of this movie?
There's a lot of horror movies that came out in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
The Babadook.
Okay.
Apparently, it traumatized Vienna to this movie. Have you watched it yet?
You guys always kind of put it on, and
You haven't finished watching it.
no, so I don't have an absolute like opinion about it. I just, for whatever reason, like either I'm going to bed or like there's something else happening.
No, I think last time you told Vienna to wait because you wanted to cover it on the podcast.
So that was the very last time. Yeah.
So would you shut it down? Another movie that came out was Creep,
Okay.
Annabelle,
Oh, Annabelle, that's a big one.
Annabelle
A lot of
came
people
out.
like that one.
and then I liked it. I thought it was creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So dismissive. The Taking of Deborah Logan. I still have yet to watch this.
Dexter's sister in the show Dexter.
Seen the trailer and it looks pretty good. And then we also have What We Do in the Shadows,
Okay.
The Last Shift, and then Tusk.
And then Tusk. Wait. I know movie. So 2014, this year was kind of a poor man year for me. I was very poor. So I think this explains why I haven't seen a lot of these movies.
Oh.
But, I was young, struggling. I didn't have a budget.
Oh, you could go to the movie theaters?
Huh?
You weren't going
This
to the
one I
movie
did go.
theaters?
The one I know for a fact that I seen in the theaters was Deliver Us from Evil, and that was with Eric Bana.
Okay.
So I did watch that one, and actually, you know what? I enjoy that movie. I watched it recently. It's not as good as I thought it was back in the day.
Okay.
But I remember that one specifically, Deliver Us from Evil, and I think I might have seen The Purge Anarchy, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
Because there's so many of them now.
Yeah.
I remember seeing one in the theater where she's like, there's a lady running for mayor or some shit, and they end up killing all the people at the table, like the head people.
Yeah. Mhm.
And I remember that. I seen that one in theaters. I don't know which one that was.
I watched some of these movies on the list, not necessarily from the movie theater, just either rentals or streaming.
You missed another one too, Oculus.
Oh, that one was good too.
Oh, okay. So you watched a lot of these. 2014 was your wheelhouse?
Yeah, and then some of them just by making a trip down to the good old Garland.
Garland Theater, really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Gotta save
Not
those
even
bucks.
not even my poor ass could go to the Garland
Right.
Theater, dude. I don't know. Whatever. That year was a struggle for me. I don't know why. I just remember 2014 hating life. I was like, fuck. I was in between jobs. I was just like, just working. I think I was working at a window place and then a steel foundry in between. It sucked. So I didn't really have much of a life. I was working swing shift.
You were busy.
Yeah, that's pretty much busy and not making much. So very notable in that regard. So who is privileged now?
Not me. I was going to the cheap movie theater.
Oh, God damn it. Oh, okay. So that's pretty cool. I have some fun facts about 2014 as well.
Throw them.
I was kind of interested in.
Oh, okay.
So if you remember, if everybody can go to the way back,
10 years ago.
the Ice Bucket Challenge was
shit.
born. It was a viral campaign to raise awareness and funds for ALS.
Nice.
But then it just kind of took a turn of its own. It kind of lost the ALS part, and people were just dumping buckets on their heads for years, dude. Like, that went on for fucking, 3 years.
That long?
I swear to God, because there was people doing it that I worked with.
Uh-huh.
The job I'm at now, they did it, and I was there. I got hired there at at the end or mid 2015,
Okay.
and they were doing it, and it was like 2016.
Did you partake?
Fuck. I didn't. I never did.
Oh.
Ice bucket challenge. It's weird. Another thing was Frozen phenomenon. It came out the year before.
Oh, really?
But Frozen took off.
It did.
Yeah, sing a song.
Let it go. Let it go. Can't hold me back anymore.
See?
So what's her fucking name?
Olaf?
No, not Olaf. Olaf is adorable.
Did Vienna get into this?
She did. We were going to the movie theaters to see Frozen. Her
shit.
and Bella.
Oh, shit.
Once. Yeah. I took them both to see, I think, the second one.
Yeah.
I don't know if we made it to the third one.
Do you got pictures of her in her Frozen outfit?
No, she never did the dress up. My niece did more of the dress up, but the Elsa braid, very popular because I learned how to do it. So I would do side French braids on them.
You got to show me pictures of it.
And they were like, and at times when they were fighting about doing their hair, I'm like, do you want to look like Elsa? And they were like, yes.
Oh my God. Hey, also, so that's the Frozen experience. Along with that, I think Frozen had something to do with it, but social media growth. Instagram hit 300 million users in 2014. They were taken off, surpassing Twitter. Yeah, and then this one that I personally remember and never got it, thankfully. The Ebola outbreak.
Oh, that's when this
2014.
happened.
Yep, outbreak in West Africa reached its peak in 2014, leading to a global health crisis and extensive international response.
I remember the news.
Oh, dude, yeah, Ebola was huge. And then the last thing that I remember, because I do remember seeing this one in theaters too,
Okay.
Marvel Cinematic Universe. Guardians of the Galaxy came out.
Oh my gosh,
My favorite, that is my favorite Marvel movie. I love
the
that.
first one,
Yeah.
Biana. Oh my god. So I had an online streaming account of some sort because it was still fairly new, right? Streaming.
Mm-hmm.
And I had my fucking debit card saved on there, and we were getting ready to go do something, and I came back into my bedroom, and Vienna's watching Guardians of the Galaxy. And I was like, whoa, where did this come from? She straight up purchased.
Oh, shit.
The movie was like $27. So I was
Holy
like,
fuck.
down the rabbit hole. I was like, how do I lock this so she doesn't keep buying movies?
Dude, oh my God. I've had kids do that. Like on my Xbox or whatever, they're just buying shit.
My niece bought a fart pack from Amazon on my Alexa.
Oh my God.
I woke up one day to a receipt and it was like, thank you for your purchase for your fart pack. And I came out, she was having a sleepover at my house. And I was like, dude, what did you do? She's like, listen to this. All you hear is fart noises. She thought it was the funniest thing. I don't think she's ever used it again.
Oh my God.
So we own fart noises.
She probably doesn't remember it.
I bet you she doesn't.
That's hilarious. All right, to get back to it, that was the fun facts. Sorry, guys, I got derailed when I was doing my research. So, the cast. How'd you feel about this cast?
I only recognize one person from this cast.
Who's that?
I'm gonna butcher his name. Keir Gilchrist.
Yep, Keir Gilchrist. Yeah, he plays the character of Paul.
Mm-hmm. Only because I watched them on Atypical.
Oh yeah, you got to show me that show. It's on Netflix, right?
It's on Netflix, and I love that show. And then I also saw him on Heartthrob and in The Good Neighbor, so I recognize his face.
Dang, he's your guy, huh?
Yeah.
So, okay. And you think he was casted right?
I think he was.
And I wasn't asking who you recognized. I was saying how you felt about that.
No, I said I felt good. I said I only I don't know. I didn't recognize any of the other actors on here except for the kid.
So that can kind of be a good thing. I think it played a good thing for this movie. And we got to remember, this thing only had a budget of like $2 million.
Yeah.
But dude, a lot of times, especially I feel like nowadays, well, just, I guess, cinema in its entirety, you go through runs where you notice the same people, like the Chris Hemsworth of the world acting in everything, the Jake Gyllenhaals in everything. You ever notice that? Mm-hmm. Like sometimes I get bored of movies because I'm like, it's just another Tom Cruise movie. Like, so I like the fact that there was nobody I didn't notice anybody in this
Okay.
movie. I didn't at all. But I do like the cast. I think the cast was good.
Mm-hmm.
Just the material was a little
No.
if that makes sense. So our lead character is, how do you say it? Micah
Micah Monroe.
Yeah, she plays Jay Height. And then, so her notable filmography is The Guest, that I'd never seen. I did see Independence Day Resurgence, but I don't remember her. And then Hot Summer Nights, I've heard of. Villains, and then Greta 2018. And then you said she's in an upcoming movie, and then she's in something else, right?
So she is going to be the lead actress in another horror movie called Long Legs that's coming out
with Nicolas Cage. Yeah.
Comes out this year. And then, spoiler, there's going to be a sequel to this movie. It's going to be called They Follow. They're starting to work on it. And the director said that she'll be back for this. And is expected to release sometime in 2025.
Weird. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, with her, this is kind of where she got her start, right?
Yeah, I think so.
It looks like this and The Guest.
Yeah, she was also in The Watcher, The Stranger, which was a TV show. Oh, you know where else we saw her? And I did not put together that it was her until I started looking at her credits. Significant Other. It's a show on Paramount. Remember, it's a couple and they go camping in the middle of the woods.
Oh, shit, that's her?
And she gets possessed by this thing that she finds in the woods.
That's not her, is it?
It is her. And she kills her husband.
Seriously?
Yeah, that's her.
Dang, I didn't even recognize her. Wow. It's just, maybe she, and this is going to sound like I'm a dickhead, but maybe she just has a face that's like, it's just a normal face. You know what I mean? It's not recognizable. Hey, I got the same face. Like, you wouldn't point me out in a crowd. Like,
I would. I'd be like, that's my adorable Richard.
No, you wouldn't. I'm like, just another white guy with a beard.
With a beard.
But no, that being said, she didn't do bad. I thought she was fine in this movie.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, we have Kerr Gilchrist. And his filmography it's kind of a funny story in 2010, United States of Terra.
Oh, I love that show.
Never seen it.
Freaking canceled.
Atypical, and then Dark Summer, and then The Good Neighbor. And he was good in all these, or what?
I really like, he's the lead character in Atypical. He plays a high schooler with autism, so just learning to navigate daily life.
Okay.
Heartthrob, he dates a girl and then he becomes kind of creepily obsessed. So the creepy dude in the movies.
Yeah, the loner type.
And then The Good Neighbor, I really liked him there. He was also, I haven't watched this yet. It's on my watch list. Love and Death, which is a TV show with Elizabeth Olsen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So moving on to the next one. This guy, I thought he did a pretty good job. Daniel Zavato. He played Greg Hannigan in this movie. And then his notable filmography is Don't Breathe, 2016, Lady Bird, 17, Penny Dreadful, City of Angels. I do remember him in, my guess, maybe a little bit. But that was a series that got canceled, I think. Heavy in 2019 and Newness in 2017.
Have you watched The Pope's Exorcist?
Yeah, he's in that.
He was in there
Oh,
too.
shit. Is he the priest?
No, I didn't look to see what character he played. I just saw he was on The Pope's Exorcist.
Ooh, I gotta rewatch that. Now, I don't like the movie, but like, hey, that puts a whole new thing in there. That'd be cool.
And then he was in 1 or 2 episodes, or I can't remember how many, of Fear the Walking Dead.
Oh, shit, really? Does he get eaten by a zombie?
Probably.
Is he zombie number 3000 or something?
I don't know.
Okay.
Might be a zombie.
Yeah. And then, so we have another person who I feel like I should know who she is, Olivia Liccardi. She plays Yara, and she's in Orange is the New Black, The Deuce, Channel Zero, Butcher's Block, Go/Don't Go, and Money Monster. So I don't know.
I recognize her from one thing.
Orange is the New Black?
No, The Thing About Pam. It's another true crime show.
The thing that I even list off.
Huh?
I didn't even list that show off.
Oh, really? Yeah, I recognize her from there.
Okay, cool. So this is more this cast is more up your alley. You recognize them. The actor that plays Kelly Height, Jay's little sister, Lily Sepe, she's in it. She was in Spork, The Intruders, and The Perfect Daughter. Now, do you recognize her in anything else that I didn't list?
I didn't recognize her, but I did see that she was also in Popstar, a Lonely Island movie that they did.
Yeah. Okay.
And she was also in Lizzie McGuire. She played young Lizzie McGuire back in 2002.
Oh, fuck, really?
Yeah.
Dang.
So, fun little fact about their character names of Jay and Kelly. The director threw a little flowers at Halloween. So he named the main character Jay, short for Jamie Lee Curtis. And apparently Jamie Lee Curtis has a little sister whose name is Kelly Curtis. So that's why he named
Kelly.
Okay. Yeah, like siblings.
Okay, cool. Fascinating. I like that. Interesting tidbit. So the last character we have is Jake, the guy who plays Hugh/Jeff Redman. Again, he doesn't ring any bells to me, but I do recognize some of the work he's been in. As the World Turns, Animal Kingdom, Zombievers. I know this one. I've seen it on streamers. I never watched it. Pretty Little Liars, and then he was in It Chapter 2, but I don't remember him in that.
I don't remember him in there. I saw he's also supposed to be in an upcoming show of The Walking Dead, Dead City.
Oh, shit. How many spinoffs are they going to have of that show?
I don't know.
So, yeah, I would say the biggest star of this show in terms of mainstream recognition and career impact would be Micah Monroe. Wouldn't you?
Micah, more mainstream, and then Gilchrist, I think he does a little bit more of like the indie films, which I think he does a pretty good job at him.
Yeah. And then, so the director of this movie is David Robert Mitchell. He was also the writer of this movie too,
and producer. Did you see that?
And producer. So I feel like he's a man of all trades, right? He did it all. But I feel like maybe a little bit more help on this movie would have took this over the top.
Well, he only had $1 million.
I know, $1 to $2 million, so he had to kind of do it all.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a little bit on him. He was born October 19th in 1974 in Clawson, Michigan, which kind of makes sense for the movie because its roots are in Michigan, right? So the movie takes place in Detroit. Mm-hmm. And then, so Mitchell started his career making short films before moving on to feature-length projects. His work often combines elements of horror, mystery, and surrealism, and he has been praised for his ability to create tension and mood in his films. And his filmography that I could find, he doesn't have much, but The Myth of the American Sleepover. The synopsis of that is a coming-of-age drama that follows a group of teenagers during the last night of summer. Obviously, this movie, it follows. And then Under the Silver Lake. So, have you seen any of those feature films? He has short films also. Have you seen anything really from this guy other than this movie?
Just It Follows.
Yeah, so this is the only movie that I've saw of his. Now, I might venture out and look at these, but again, from the explanations of it, like The Myth of the American Sleepover, I just feel like it's not made for me. This, day and age where I'm, it's just not my timing.
Yeah.
But, so Mitchell's work is characterized by its atmospheric style, attention to detail, and exploration of themes related to adolescence, paranoia, and the supernatural. So It Follows remains his most widely recognized film, contributing significantly to his reputation as a talented director in the horror genre. For me, okay, it gets your foot in the door, but I need to see more from you, bud. Like the horror, this gets you in the horror door, but I think you could do so much better than this movie.
I'll be interested to see, since, again, this movie, maybe it wasn't for us, but it does have an audience. So I'll be interested to see what they follow. Looks like maybe he'll get a better budget. Maybe he'll get more help and see what it looks like. He does have another movie that's in the works that kind of caught my eye just because of the names that are going to be in here. It's going to be called Flowervale Street. It's in post-production. I found that it's like a sci-fi. Anne Hathaway, Ewan McGregor are going to be in it, and they're at the moment keeping the plot kind of on the wraps
Hush,
and
hush.
secret. Yeah.
Okay. That sounds very cool. See, I would give it a shot. I'm not against this guy or with this guy. He just needs to do a little more to convince me. So this movie, though, definitely I was curious to see what its influences are. You brought up the influence of Halloween, how he named Jane Kelly after Jamie Lee Curtis and her sister. This movie, though, I was looking at it, he is heavily influenced by John Carpenter. So, like, Halloween was a big one. The film's use of suburban settings, its slow building tension, and the concept of unstoppable force, that's all elements of Halloween. And It Follows has that to a T. And also the way it's shot, the long takes, the wide angle shots, and the haunting score. So I think he really did. This was his, his kiss to Halloween.
Yeah.
But also it does have a hint of Wes Craven in it too, like Nightmare on Elm Street, that supernatural relentlessness, dreamlike pursuit of a threat that's always lurking is something that's in this movie as well, which can be Halloween also, but also it has elements of The Thing, again, directed by John Carpenter, which what it takes out of that is the sense of paranoia and the idea of entity that can take different forms. So that's heavy in this movie too. The two movies that I see more so than Nightmare are Halloween and The Thing. And then also you have The Shining. You have a little bit of Kubrick in there with the wide angle again. And then Let the Right One In, the atmospheric approach to the horror and the focus on character relationships is pretty cool. And then one that it was kind of subtle for me, but I was looking at it more and more. I don't know if you've ever seen this movie because it's older. It's called Cat People.
No.
So it was made in 1942. Its influence on this, you can tell the use of shadow and suggestion to create fear rather than explicit horror. So your imagination. So Jaws, The Cat People. It's just a minimalist approach to horror, relying on atmosphere and imagination. So I honestly, from what I've seen, I think Cat People was a heavy influence in this too. You've got your big three: Cat People, The Thing, and Halloween.
Okay.
Definitely. What do you think?
Sure. All great.
Oh, you're not going to contribute? Okay.
No, I don't know.
Okay. I got a lot of that. I don't know. I was drawing a lot of comparisons.
On drawing comparisons with The Thing and
Hey.
Kubrick and
So I got a question.
oh lordy lord, here we go.
Do you know what The Thing is?
It's an alien,
Okay.
extraterrestrial.
Have you seen it before?
The Thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've watched it a couple times.
Oh, okay.
Once by my lonesome without your influence, and another time with you.
Now, do you know who the villain is in Halloween?
Michael Myers.
Okay.
What else?
I was just curious.
Face.
I was.
Kill, 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 kill.
Whoa, Crocface? Dude, no, that is not Michael Myers, bro. That's Jason.
I know. I'm saying, and then there's Crocface.
Oh my god.
Kill, 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 kill.
Okay, cool. I'm just testing you. Testing you.
Okay.
Also, I guess additional inspirations too, just to kind of round this out that I kind of noticed. He is heavily influenced in 1970s and 1980s horror. The overall aesthetic and style of the horror films from these decades influenced the look and the feel of It Follows. And then David Lynch, will not explicitly stated, the surreal and dreamlike quality of Lynch's work, such as Blue Velvet and Mulholland Drive, can be felt in this film's unsettling atmosphere and ambiguous narrative, as well as George Romero, too, known for his work for The Night of the Living Dead, right? Well, the influence in It Follows blends social commentary with horror elements. Okay. So it really blends that stuff together. coming of age, being a young teenager, and then obviously with like the sex and everything. It just blends it really well.
Yeah, I did see that he really played around with different themes throughout the movie.
Yeah.
To kind of mess with time, when like era when this was actually taking place. You see a lot of, like you said, some vintage items placement in throughout the movie, like the movies that they watch at times.
So the movies, I noticed, because it's kind of give and take. So I noticed a lot of it. So the movies were a big one. The TVs were vintage. And then you had like the cars being vintage, but also you had some new ones. That blend there. And then you have with the girl, it was imaginary. I tried to look this up. The little Kindle thing she's reading, the clamshell, is fake. That is not a real product.
You didn't know that? Or what do you mean?
It's not a real product.
Oh, I know it's not a real product.
You're telling me you looked at it and you're like, oh, that shit's like not real. You thought about that?
What, that it wasn't real?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen that before.
I never seen it either, but it's believable. It could happen.
It looks like an e-reader, like those fire...
Yeah. Like a
e-read things, but it's in a... Yeah.
It's in like a makeup box type of thing.
Yeah, it's a compact.
Yeah. I thought that was kind of a cool concept. But it kind of mixed that retro with the technology.
I have a little bit on it once we go through the scene by scene. Some references that I found of kind of where the idea for that came from. And yeah, like you mentioned, yeah, everything throughout the movie that you see, a lot of the stuff that they see on TV, it's, again, vintage era, 1950s, black and white monster movies. I saw online that, they were just making comments to, like I mentioned, him just kind of playing with time and placements. Like you said, some of the movie, it has that dreamy feel to it. There were some scenes where it felt like it was summer. Sometimes it felt like it was fall. Sometimes it felt like it was spring. Again, yeah, and like you mentioned, some of the cars,
it was just timeless. It was you really can't pinpoint the time. Like you didn't know it was 2014, or it could have been 1990. It could have been 2014. To be honest with you, you just couldn't see. You couldn't tell. He did a really good job of blending the two. Yeah.
Clothing was another thing that I saw, just because of what they're wearing at times, blending in with the weather. At times they're wearing coats, or Jay was at times.
Yeah.
And other times they're wearing like in a swimsuit.
Yeah, exactly. And then in a pool. Like, I know global warming's bad, but not that bad. Jesus Christ. But, okay, so that kind of rounds out the cast and director. Do you like the director then?
I'm interested to see what else. I'm gonna say I'm impressed. He wore all of his hats and he did all of this, for the movie that he made and the reception that he got from obviously the fans that the movie has.
Well, yeah, it's renowned. Yeah, I'm impressed too, and respect for doing it. God knows, like, I couldn't create something like this. So,
and like you said, beautiful shots.
It really was, but that goes to the cinematographer.
Okay.
Whoever you hired for that, I didn't look that up, but amazing job also.
Amazing job.
Well, do you want to go to break real quick and then we'll come back with the plot?
Oh, sure. I'm excited to hear your plot this week.
All right. We will be right back after these messages. Ever worry about your late night encounters might come with an unwanted supernatural attachment? Introducing the Supernatural Proof Prophylactic, the ultimate protection against more than just the usual risks. This innovative product is designed with a special blend of ancient charms and modern materials to not only provide the highest level of physical protection, but also to guard against any supernatural curses or entities that might try to hitch a ride. How does it work, you ask? Each Supernatural Proof Prophylactic is infused with protective runes and blessed by leading experts of the mystical arts, ensuring that you stay safe from any ethereal follow-ups. It's your all-in-one safeguard for peace of mind during those intimate moments. Perfect for those who love horror films like It Follows, but want to keep their supernatural experiences strictly on the screen. With the Supernatural Proof Prophylactic, you can enjoy your encounters without the fear of the paranormal consequences. So visit supernaturalprotection.com and use the promo code SAFESEX for a 20% discount on your first purchase. Because the best protection is total protection. Supernatural Proof Prophylactic. Stay safe, stay protected, stay curse free. Yeah, babe. That's all I'm saying. Big dick energy. You gotta have that. You gotta bring it.
It is big.
I know, your energy's good. I'm kind of sporadic.
This is just your personality. You're up and you're down and you're in and you're back and whoa.
Whoa.
I'm the fact lady.
Okay. I like it.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
You're not
I think you're
satisfied.
great. Yes, I think you're great.
I think I'm great too. Thank you very much.
Yep, you're the talent.
I'm not the talent.
Welcome back, guys. We were just talking about it.
About how I don't bring enthusiasm into the.
I never said this. She's taking this way over the top.
No, that's all I heard.
I was just gauging the beginning of this episode. I feel like we were a little bit meh.
You were meh.
Maybe it just, I don't know. Maybe it was my headset or something.
I think so. It's late for you.
No, it's not. It's 9:30. Oh my God. You pay me out to be this old fucking man.
You're not old, but sometimes.
Well, sometimes I do go. So during the weekdays,
Uh-huh.
I do like to go to bed at a decent time because, guys, I go to work at a decent time. So I like to go to bed. So if I go to bed at 9:30, quit busting my balls.
We're not busting your balls.
You stay up all night. I don't know how you operate on 3 hours of sleep. That shit's insane.
I just do. I do what I gotta do.
You're amazing. You're amazing. I need a full 8. Sometimes 9.
Sometimes 10.
Sometimes 10. Fuck, dude. I like sleeping, okay?
I know. Sometimes you just like, oh my God, Richard, this really cool, exciting thing happened. And no response. And I'm like, oh.
Well, just know.
Nighttime for Richie.
Just know, past 9:30, it's like hit or miss. If you're going to get
I
me.
know. I'm surprised whenever you do respond and it's like 10:40, 11. I'm like, oh shit.
Like this week, if I did respond, it was because I was working on our project. So
the project.
Yeah.
I love the project.
Yeah, me too.
It was.
Guys, we're sponsored by Supernatural Proof Prophylactic.
Prophylactic.
So just saying, take a look into it. Listen to the commercial. It's pretty good.
I think everybody already has. You should definitely send us a message, though. Let us know if you enjoyed it. Richard breaking out in his big debut.
Mm-hmm. More to come, guys. More to come. Also for hire. If you guys want if you want to hire me to write out a script, I will.
Richard is the
good.
creative minds, the creative brains.
She gives me too much credit. We're starting to sound like the horror show. Too much praise, man. Too much praise. I'm kidding. We love you guys. Anyways, do we want to close this tab and get back to the movie It Follows? A 2014 blockbuster?
Yeah. Did you take the time? Did you even have time to write your own plot?
I did.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
My Atlanta.
Did you?
Give it to me, baby.
No, I want to hear yours first.
Why do I gotta fucking go first?
Because I want to hear your copy-pasted bullshit.
I didn't copy-paste it.
No, I want to hear it. Your last one was really good. So you won the last one.
I won the last one?
It was humorous. It was funny. Mine was more straight-laced.
I feel like it was sarcastic.
I liked it. That was hilarious.
Okay, for this week, this one, it took me a little more too. The other one just came to me. I was like, baloney. But here goes. The ultimate date from hell. A young woman goes on a date that would change her life forever. What she thinks is the start of a new romance ends with the ultimate extreme rare case of STD, sexually transmitted demon, telling the precautionary tale of you never truly know who you're meeting. As a result of her date, with the help of her friends, Jay finds herself conflicted, deciding on the best way to fight for her life and while putting her morals on the line. Ooh.
That's pretty good. I like it. So here's my version.
Your very serious professional version.
In It follows a young woman named Jay finds herself plagued by terrifying supernatural force after a seemingly innocent romantic encounter. As she and her friends try to unravel the mystery and find a way to escape the relentless entity, they discover that the only way to stay safe is to keep moving. This chilling tale blends psychological horror with a haunting atmosphere, creating a suspenseful and unforgettable experience.
Beautiful, professional, to that point.
So again, guys, let us know what one you like. Please comment on any platform, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, wherever, man. We want to hear the comment and
tell us if you like professional plots or sarcastic plots.
We're both amateurs, guys, but yeah, even tell us new ones or send us your version of the plot.
Yeah, send us a good plot that in your own words. How do you feel about this?
Yeah, that would be awesome.
We'll read it on the next episode.
So yeah, this movie, definitely. It's a movie. You said Jason was the king of abstinence. I think this thing definitely punishes you.
How did we manage to cover 2 abstinence sexual prevention movies back to back?
Because it's the ultimate trope in horror. You have sex, you get murdered. Like, that's what happens.
Damn.
I know. Isn't that fucked up?
Abstinence.
So, I was going to ask you.
Oh, shit.
In this movie. What?
I'm scared of your question.
No, it's not bad. So, in this movie, what character do you identify best with?
Best?
Mm-hmm.
I probably the sister.
Kelly,
but although I want to be more like Yara, just not give a fuck and fucking read my business and read my book.
Oh shit, that's cool.
But I have to care and be like, let me help you.
Yeah.
What about you?
I don't know. What do you think?
Maybe Greg. You just don't scare easy.
Yeah, call bullshit.
Yeah. It's not real.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm a softie in the end.
You're a softie? So who would you say you're...
What I'd want to be would be Greg. Who I would be would probably be desperate ass Paul.
Like a little puppy.
Yeah. I'd be that fucking guy. God damn it. I feel like his character is so fucking desperate in this movie. He doesn't even care. He's going to take an STD, even though he knows what's the outcome. He's like, fuck it, I don't care. Ride me. That's what it is, dude. Like, I'm sorry, but bro, come on. I know you work at an ice cream shop and things aren't going maybe as well as you want, and you've had this crush on this girl forever. But dude, now is not the time. She's vulnerable. And she has fucking, who knows what else? She's a cesspool of STDs.
Oh, why are you hating on her when she's fucking fighting for her life?
I know, it's unfortunate, but come on.
Okay.
It was a little desperate. Some people think, oh, that's heroic, what he did. He's desperate.
To me, I was a little annoyed by him towards the end.
Yeah.
It was like, stop pushing yourself, man. Have some fucking dignity and self-respect.
Be a fucking man.
Well, no, just dignity.
What do you have some machismo?
And you know.
No.
Just respect yourself.
Yeah.
RESPCT. No? Was that not? Is that not the type of energy you wanted, Richard?
Okay. Dial it back.
No.
Shit, man. We let fucking
you let
Pandora out of the box. Oh, god damn. Okay, cool.
Oh my god.
So this is the part of the episode where Angelus unravels, but we pull it back together.
We're switching roles. Last week it was you.
Going off the rails. I listened back to that episode. I was not off the rails. I was fucking hitting on all cylinders.
I know, like the wrong cylinders.
I thought it was good. But let's get back to it. We're going to go to the scene for scene breakdown. Exciting times.
Exciting times? Okay.
So I have an issue with the opening of this movie. And I'm going to point out inconsistencies. Guys, it's going to sound like I'm hating hard on this movie. That is not the case. I just want to preface this. It is not the case. There's a lot of inconsistencies, and quite frankly, I think I'm just going to flat out say it. In the writing, it was lazy. It was lazy writing.
Whoa.
The character, the entity, they left a lot of openness to it. I get it, to the imagination, quote unquote. But dude, you could have gave us an origin story. It doesn't, to me, that would make it more effective.
They follow.
To me, it'd make it more effective if we knew the origins of this, where this thing came from, how it was developed, because now it's just random. I have no idea. We don't know the rules, which can be scary, I guess, but also helps the director and the writer do whatever the fuck they want. So there's no guidelines to follow. So that's the inconsistencies in this movie I'm talking about that I'll kind of point out. I'm not going to go super hard on it. I know.
Be nice.
I know you roll your eyes on it.
Be nice to the dude.
Just very frustrating when someone takes that approach. I'm not going to say it's all out lazy, but to me, in my opinion, is a lazy form. But anyways, this movie, which the opening scene I have an issue with right off the bat. The first time I saw this, I was irritated and a little frustrated with. This young girl is running out of her house. What does she have on? Fucking heels. Why is she running in heels?
Satin pajamas.
And heels. Why? Why?
She fucking bougie bitch. That's why.
At first, I thought, oh, maybe she is running away from a boyfriend, husband. Because you can't quite see how young she is, but clearly she's super young. And then she runs out. A lady's like unloading groceries. It's like dusk.
Yeah.
And she's like, you need help? She's like, no. And then her dad comes out, but you don't see her dad yet. She's like, hey, man, what's going on? She's like, nothing, Dad. It's fine. And she's still running, and she runs up. She like runs around whatever's watching her. You can tell. She crosses the street, runs, and then runs back in the house. But she's still got these fucking heels on. Why would you do that? If you're running away and running for your life, your first instinct's to put those heels on?
There are models that walk very well in heels.
They prefer to run in it? They prefer to run in it.
Everybody's case, but sometimes you're in a rush. First thing you have are fucking whatever shoes, and they'll put them on.
Fucking run barefoot.
I don't know. She doesn't want to stab her toe.
I'm going hard on that. That was just very frustrating. Like, dude, come on. Like, that was stylistic. Whatever. I didn't like it. It took me out of the movie right away right there. I was like, oh, okay. There's
another Halloween reference here.
What is it?
Her name is Annie. And that's also one of Lori's friends in Halloween, Anne Brackett.
Oh, okay.
Okay, just like the names.
So what I do like about this opening scene is the music is really awesome. It's jarring, but it's creative. It gives me a John Carpenter feel on that, and I do like it. I like the music in this.
So you're giving it 1 point here so far?
Yeah.
Okay. She grabs her purse, runs out of the house again.
Yeah, she bolts, and then she peels out in a modern car. This is one of the first modern cars you see. You kind of see modern cars on this block, but then as the movie progresses, the cars, and from what I noticed,
go back.
Yeah, they roll back, and now you get these cars that were made in the 70s.
Okay.
Which I thought was kind of cool. So she peels out. We end up seeing her again. This time, she's on the beach, back facing the water, and she's facing forward into the woods with her headlights and car facing her. She gets a call. Clearly, she's freaked out. She's still panicking. It looks like she's on drugs. If I was her parent, I'd be like, oh, dude. But what does she tell? Because her parents call, her dad calls.
Her dad calls, and she's talking to him, apologizing if she was ever a brat to him, saying, I love you.
Yeah, I don't know why.
She's doing her goodbyes. Because I think she's come to terms that she's not going to be able to, to survive. At this point, we don't know what it is yet. And so she's saying, I know, I just want you to know that I love you. I'm sorry, I was a bad kid and whatever. And she's just like, yeah, I love you. I don't know why.
And then she pauses, and I pause the scene when it's looking out into the woods. I thought I seen something, and so kudos to the director on this. I thought I did, and it gives you that, oh shit, what's out there? Because she clearly is freaked out and sees something, and it doesn't quite show you the entity yet or what it's doing. But I thought this picture was kind of cool, and this is where the heels come in for artistic value.
Oh.
They show a picture of her lifeless, and her legs were broken in half, and I think one of her feet were gnawed off because it was like it looked like it was just, there was nothing there.
Oh, I missed that. I just was impressed by the way her leg was folded up and her foot completely twisted backwards, bones sticking out. You know what it reminded me of?
Huh.
Remember the show Scar from MTV?
What?
No? Scar from MTV. It was like hardcore skateboarders, and they would do tricks, and then someone would always get hurt. And you see like
that was Scar?
Bones and everything. I think it was called Scar. It was on MTV. It's pretty intense.
I remember Jackass.
No, this was before Jackass. Or maybe around the same time as Jackass.
Before?
But it was kind of like a documentary. They would go and follow these kids around, and they would be like, here's the scar, and this is how I got it.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Okay, so what's the second scene we're coming into? This is where we meet Jay, right? She's in the pool or getting into the pool.
Yeah, she cleans it, gets in the pool. She's floating around, just chilling by herself. And then you meet her sister at Lily. Or Kelly.
So she's kind of swimming in there, thinking about things. She likes life because she's looking at animals. It shows a squirrel and things.
You got that out of this?
And she killed, and then the only thing I did see, she drowns an ant that was on her arm. And then that's when Kelly comes out and she's like, hey, Paul and Yara are here, and we're going to watch a movie. Do you want to watch? And she's like, nah, I got a date tonight. This is another thing I was curious about, because Kelly's like, her sister's like, hey, I like him. And she's like, I like him too, like Jay does. Mm-hmm. Kelly's never met him, because later in the movie, they've never met each other.
I don't know.
It was a weird comment as it developed. I'm like, oh, okay,
maybe
so he's been around.
Maybe she knows of him?
No, nobody does, because they don't even know his real name.
Well, he gave him a wrong name.
He's not from there. He rented a house.
I know. Maybe she told him a little bit of stories about.
Oh, I'm just saying it didn't. Yeah, I like him. Well, clearly off the bat, this family they have judgment issues with guys. Poor choices in guys.
She looks up, and then neighborhood kids are like peeking over the bushes looking at her, and she's like, I can see you.
Yeah, and they're like, oh shit. I'm like, duck and get out of there.
Yeah. So she gets out, she goes inside the house.
She gets ready. She's wearing an old school dress, like an 80s dress, retro.
Well, that's where you go inside. They take you inside the house and you meet Yara.
Oh, that's right.
And Paul.
With her seashell fucking Kindle.
Apparently, they're watching Killers from Space, 1954 on TV.
Ooh, ooh.
Ooh, ooh. Yeah. And because I wanted to know what this shell thing was.
Yeah.
What I found is that it's a 60 shell compact, and so they try to do something old with something new and put it together.
Yeah.
An e-reader. So I guess the director's kind of the purpose of this was to create the effect of a dream and place it outside of time, so mixing again two timelines kind of together.
It's timeless.
And then she says that she's reading The Idiot, because they ask her what she's doing.
Yeah.
A novel from 1869. And then she says it's about Paul. The one thing here she says, I have an idea. And she fucking leans to the side and farts. And she's like, I got away.
Yeah.
And you can start seeing Paul just keeps looking at Jay from the profile. And finally she's like, hi, Jay. And she says hello. She goes upstairs, and then she starts, getting ready. One thing I did see on the mirror when she's getting ready, she has pictures. There's one of her in the pool. One of her and her dad.
I knew this was going to play a part. It was so obvious. I'm like, oh, this is going to be the end. I thought it was going to have a bigger impact than it did. Like, they could have emphasized it more. Like, it could have been more traumatic.
The pictures or the ending?
The ending.
Okay.
Like, they subtly used it.
It was subtle, yeah.
It was stupid. They didn't even, like, come on, man. You could have made it better. Anyways, I digress.
You digress.
So yeah, she's getting ready. She's putting that retro dress on, going on her hot date with Hugh, aka what's his name? Jason?
Jeff.
Jeff.
Yeah, they're in line waiting outside the movie theater, trying to get tickets to a movie. And she asked him, she's like, hey, have you ever played the trade game? And she said,
if you can trade places with one person, I have 2 guesses.
But you're supposed to find someone within your surroundings.
Right. And she has 2 guesses to like get right, but if not, then he just lets her know. Yeah.
Yeah. So
he looks around and he's like, oh, got it. Or no, she looks around and was like, got it?
He goes first.
Oh, yeah. He's like, I got it.
And then...
So they get into the theater and then they're getting concessions and they're still talking and she runs out of guesses and loses. But then he's like, you want to know who it is? Because she's like, oh, points to a dude making out with a girl. Mm-hmm. He's like, nah. And then he points at the family and she's like, oh, the dad, thinking probably, oh, he's a father figure type, wants to be a father someday. No, he pointed to the kid. He's like, man, the innocence of this kid, like he's got his whole life ahead of him. So that tells you right now, he's got like subtly, there's trouble brewing in his head.
Yeah.
Like he's worried about stuff because he's only 21 and she makes a remark about that. She's like, you're only 21. You got your whole life ahead of you too. He's like, yeah, but it's different. This guy can shit his pants and fucking get away with it. And she's like, he's probably shitting his pants right now.
Yeah. And then they take their seats and then it's Jay's turn. She looks around. She turns behind and she picks someone. And then Hugh turns around and he says, over there, the girl in the yellow dress. And Jay turns around and she can't see, like, she doesn't see the girl with the yellow dress. And she's like, where?
Well, he points. He's like, what are you talking about? That girl. And she's like, I don't see anyone. And that's where he gets kind of upset a little bit. You can tell his demeanor totally changes. And she can tell. He's like, oh, man, can we get out of here? Can we just go back to the car? I'm not feeling well. She's like, oh, okay, that's weird. So they end up doing that. And then they go to a diner. And they're talking about stuff, right?
Yeah.
What are they talking about? I can't remember.
I don't know. I was busy looking at the entity.
So that's the whole point of that being at that diner, which I'm like, oh shit. So they're kind of bullshitting. And then you see this figure just walking straight
towards the restaurant.
Yeah, towards the restaurant. I'm like, oh shit, this is about to go down. It doesn't. They end up leaving and she gets dropped off.
Yeah. And then the next day, Kelly and Jay are walking down in their neighborhood, I'm assuming.
Yeah, bullshitting. Kelly wants to smoke, and that's why they're going on a walk.
And Jay tells her, she's like, Mom knows already, right? And she's like, yeah, but...
if she physically sees me, she's going to break down and cry.
Yeah.
Which, their mom, you notice you never see their mom?
Yeah.
The face?
I guess they made a point to adults, like the parents. They're either out of focus or hiding their face in their hair or something, yeah.
Except the dad's picture on the window.
He's not. It's a picture. It doesn't count.
But it made it sound like her mom was just kind of a mom that wasn't there all the way. Obviously, the dad died, so she has issues. A drinking problem or something like that is what I got out of it. But she's still working hard because they make a comment of her having to get up early. But you can tell that she's not all there for kids because they're kind of left to kind of do whatever they want.
Yeah, and then Jay, is talking to her sister. She says that, they're talking about her date last night. Says that he was acting a little weird, but he just excused it by saying that he didn't feel well. And then Kelly tries to ask, she's like, well, have you already, insinuating sex? And she's like, no, I don't want to, but, at the same time, it seems different. And then Kelly asks Jay, how is she doing those days? So it kind of gave me the sense that maybe their dad's death was more or less recent.
Yeah, it was sudden.
And then they go back home, or they're walking back towards their house, and then they see you get introduced to Greg. And then the scene here changed a little bit.
Well, Greg's washing his car with his mom.
But then they play this like dreamy little like music when you see him doing the slow motion.
So this is where the Wes Craven Nightmare on Elm Street reference comes. Greg is playing the role, if you've ever seen the first Nightmare on Elm Street, the Johnny Depp role. The cool kid lives diagonal across from you, exactly like the Wes Craven Johnny Depp situation. Do you remember that in Nightmare?
Yeah.
Where he gets sucked into his bed.
Mm-hmm.
So he's playing that cool type guy. So, and Kelly exchanges looks, and she has a crush on him.
Damn it.
Yeah. It doesn't go anywhere, though, at that point. Like, throughout this whole movie, you're like, oh, they're going to, at some point get together, have a moment. They never do.
Never.
They have a slight moment in a car here coming up in the movie. But that's it.
And then Jay goes on a second date or third or whatever, a follow-up date with Hugh again. Yeah. But this time they're like in the woods. They walk towards a body of water. I wasn't sure if it was the beach or a river.
Yeah, but that's the common theme. So the girl died by the river or the ocean, right? This date's by the ocean. We keep coming back to water. So on this date, though, I thought for sure we were going to see it. We don't. And then what's weird is she's like, oh, the date's going well. It must be, because she's like, let's go back to the car. And then they drive to an abandoned warehouse or factory.
No, not yet. So they just go back to his car. And they have their full-on makeout session. They do the deed.
Yeah, but they go to the abandoned factory and they're doing the deed there. Because they show it. They show the backdrop, and it's that big-ass, creepy-looking factory. I'm like, oh, this is weird. This is like every serial killer's fucking lair. So they're doing it because in the car, yeah, they're grinding. They're doing the whole thing, what people do.
What do they do?
Like the kids say, bumping uglies. And then afterwards, she's still got that, what do you call that? After sex glow. She's feeling it. She's like, you know what? I always had daydreams about like
being older, dating, hanging out with friends, like perfect.
And this guy
story.
And this guy's in the back. You don't see him at all. You just hear shit. He's rumbling around
in the trunk.
Yeah, and she's just kind of like, feeling good. And you think he's grabbing a beer or something, and then he comes up, slides up behind her on the back seat, and then all of a sudden after she's done talking, he doesn't say shit. He just like smothers her face with chloroform and makes her pass out.
Yeah, mother cracker.
Isn't that creepy though? What would you do in that situation?
Where was he going with this? Was it just to take her inside the building and like let her see for herself the entity to make sure she doesn't get killed?
So I think that was the whole plan. I feel like he could have done this a little bit more tastefully.
Been like, hey, come here.
Not all psycho.
I'm going to show you something.
Makes me think, like, how the hell did someone introduce this to him?
Yeah, they fucking roofied him.
It's pretty brutal. So yeah, she ends up, they transition into the factory, and she isn't quite awake yet. You just see a flashlight kind of in the background. He's walking around, and she's tied up in a wheelchair, passed out, but she starts coming to, and he's like, hey, Jay, are you awake? And then he's explaining it. He's like, hey, don't be afraid. I didn't mean to like do this to you. I didn't want to do this, but I have to. He's like, I gave you something. Like, did you write down what the rules were or what he said exactly?
He says, again, he apologizes, and he says he's not going to hurt her. He's like, but you're not going to believe me, but you really have to remember it's important.
Yes.
So he says, this thing is going to follow you. Somebody gave it to me, and I passed it to you when we were back in the car. He says, it can look like someone you know or a stranger in the crowd, but it will be getting close to you. There's only one of it. And he says, sometimes it'll look like someone you know. So he pushes the wheelchair towards the edge of the
Yeah. Well,
building.
she's stunned. She's like, what are you talking about? And then he's still looking around. He's like, oh, found it. So he comes back and then he wheels her to it. And she's like, what is that? Who is that? He's like, I don't know. And then it's a lady walking up butt ass naked, fucking in her birthday outfit, walking up all casual. The only thing she has on though are fucking flip flops.
Oh.
It's like, dude, come on, man. You could at least put a little bit of clothes on there. I don't know why the theme is naked, but
It would be creepy though. If you see someone in that state of, being just
yeah.
kind of out of it, naked, I'd be like, oh shit.
Yeah, I guess you're doing it for shock, but I don't know. I thought it was a little weird. Maybe that was the whole point, right? Like you're saying. But so he's like, all right, I'm doing this for your own good. And then the entity is walking up and it's getting closer. It's finally on the same level. And he wheels her close to it and then walks towards it and flashes the light at it, paying no attention to him.
Just a shock factor for Jay?
Yeah, to make her realize this is a real thing. And then he's like, always remember this, the number one rule, never be in a place that doesn't have two exits. Always have two exits. And then he rolls her out of the room and they get out of there and he loads her up in the car.
The other thing he says, she can't get rid of it. There's a chance that she can get rid of it. She just has to sleep with someone else as soon as she can.
And pass it on, yeah.
But if it kills her, this entity is going to make its way back to where it started, it sounds like. So they just have to keep on giving it.
Yeah.
And then that person has to stay alive and give it to someone else. Otherwise, it'll come down.
I think there was some strategy because this kid, Hugh, or Jason J, whatever the fuck his name is. Jeff.
Hugh.
He's not a bad looking kid. She's not a bad looking girl. Like, there's like a little bit of strategy. You want the person to be good looking so they can pass this on pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
Which, that's a great strategy. I think, number one, because if Paul was asking, like, hey man, I want it, I'm like, nah, man, you have no shot, dude. But anyways, the next scene, you see Kelly, Paul, and Yara playing cards.
Yeah, and then they're like slipping booze into their drink.
Yeah, and he's like, dude, is your mom asleep? She's like, yeah. And this is where we have to be quiet. She's up by 5:15. Mm-hmm. And she's like, gross. And at this point, they're talking about it, and Paul's like, hey, man, where's your sister? And she's like, oh, on another date. And he's like, a new one? And they're like, yes, with an eye roll. And they're like, fuck, she's so pretty. But the thing is, Kelly isn't that bad looking either, though. Like,
neither of them. Yara is the one who says, your sister's so pretty, it's annoying.
But even Kelly's like, yeah, I know. It's like, whatever, dude. You're cut from the same cloth.
Yeah. And then the car pulls up.
Yeah, and they're like, whoa, she's home. And then all of a sudden they can sense something bad's happening because he pops out, doesn't say anything. Kelly asks, hey, is everything okay? And then all of a sudden you see him get in the back seat, pull her out, set her on the ground. His last words are, what is it? Remember, don't let it touch you.
Yeah, and then he drives away. She's sitting in the middle of the road in her underwear.
Yeah, and so the scene is a little bit disturbing.
Her hands are tied, yeah.
So clearly Hugh...
being a little a-hole.
Yeah, a little freak. But clearly it was a little disturbing because it does look like she's been raped or something.
Yeah, it was unnecessary of his part to, I don't know.
Yeah.
He already showed her the thing. You freaked her out.
Yeah.
But to tie her, and after he freaking made her pass out with chloroform.
And he burns rubber. He's out of there. And then they go up and roll and pick her up. They call the cops, and then they're making a big spectacle, obviously. The cops, everybody, the neighbors are out watching this. The Greg and his mom are looking out the window and like, whoa, what's going on? And Leigh's like, I don't know, but that family's such a fucking mess.
Yeah.
Which I think they are, but after the father's death, who wouldn't be? Mm-hmm. But they're sitting there, and the cop's like, was it consensual? And she said yes. And then talking about the other naked lady that she's never seen.
Mm-hmm.
So they're confused. Nothing else really happens.
Yeah, and they ask if she knows where Hugh lives, and
She says kinda, but
she's
never
never
been
been
in
there.
it.
Yeah, so they take her to the hospital, and then the scene ends with you see the police. They go back to by that building where everything happened, and they find her purse in the parking lot.
And the next day, so Greg's mom and their mom are talking in the dining room of Jay's and their house,
Sipping on wine.
bullshitting, talking about the chisme, and Greg's mom's like, "Did she catch anything?" And she's like, "No, but obviously she caught a demon." But yeah, and then what are they talking?
The police can't find him yet because he used a fake name to rent the house.
Yeah, so it's all fishy stuff, and they're like, "Oh, that poor girl."
Yeah, and her mom's like, yeah, she's like, just some of the stuff that he said to her, it just breaks my heart, which I feel like it's reasonable. It's your daughter. You don't know what's happening. And then they do some scenes where Jay's just laying on the bed. She looks super depressed. Like they show her plate with food. She hasn't touched it, so she's not eating. She's not doing well. And then she's in her bedroom. She gets up and again, she's just in her undergarments. And then she walks up to the mirror. I think she's still processing everything that happened. And she's just standing in front of the mirror and just kind of pulls her underwear up a little bit.
So I don't, yeah, so she's looking makes sure she doesn't have like discharge or something.
I don't know. Looking to see if everything looks normal or if something has changed.
Guess what? It is rotten down there.
Oh my God, Richard. Never mind, I won't talk about it on the pod.
Man, they better call the fucking Ghostbusters because she's got ghosts in her pants.
Her pussy troll. You're so mean.
So moving forward, though, after she does the panty check, the Chonis check.
There's a noise at the window.
Oh,
Something
yeah.
hit the window.
Yeah, which it doesn't really, I mean.
She looks and she sees a ball on the.
Yeah, but it was an entity.
It's Paul. You
it?
didn't see him? He's standing up on the roof. He threw the ball at her. He's peeking in through her window.
Oh, I didn't see that. I guess I missed it.
Yeah. I was like, that little creep.
Paul being a fucking pervert. Pervert Paul.
Pervert Paul.
Start calling him pee-pee.
Peeking Paul.
So she ends up going to school, right?
Yeah.
And so there's a poem. I actually wrote down what the poem was. It was being read, but I can't remember.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I didn't put it on my actual notes, but I did write it down somewhere.
Beautiful.
When I looked it up. Yeah, great stuff.
Greg's in the same class as her.
Yeah, and you see that. And then so as the teacher's reading that creepy poem or whatever it was, excerpt, I think is what it's called, you start seeing a old lady in a medical gown walking towards her very slowly, very creepy. Mm-hmm. Jay sees this. She's starting to storm out. And I don't know what college class you've ever been in, but when does the teacher ever care that you're leaving in a college class? They're not going to say anything.
No, they just see you walk out. It's your grade going out the window if you fucking leave.
But the teacher's like, hey, what are you doing? Like it's high school. Yeah. It's like, get the fuck out of here. The teacher don't care. She's going to continue with her business. Like, yeah. I thought that was silly. But so Jay's getting out of there, right? Mm-hmm. She walks in between two girls having a conversation, and then that entity walks between those two, and then she's like, who are you? What do you want? And those girls are just looking at her like, you're crazy as fuck.
Yeah, she says hello.
Yeah.
To see if she's going to get a response and kind of do like a check to see if it's real or not. And the girls look at her confused and they're like,
what the fuck?
Hi. So when she gets no response from the old woman, she starts running outside.
Yeah, she bolts into the car and leaves, right?
Yeah, and she pulls up to an ice cream shop where Kelly and Paul work.
Yeah, and so this scene's a little frustrating too, but I kind of get it. It's not super irritating. You know what this reminds me of? This movie is just a superly sexually charged Stranger Things. You got ice cream shops, you got kids trying to solve a
mystery.
Case. Yeah.
No, Stranger Things was better than that.
Well, I'm not saying this is better, but this is a Stranger Things.
story.
Yeah, this is like a version of it. Like, I know this was made before Stranger Things,
Mhm.
but dude, like, it's got all the fixings to be Stranger Things.
So Jay is finally talking to Paul and Kelly about what happened. And she's like, yeah, Hugh passed something on to me. And he said someone is going to follow me. And Kelly does, at this point, she doesn't believe it. She's like, dude, like, I don't know what he was feeding you, but it sounds like a bunch of bullshit. And they're trying to follow, they're trying to, understand her and just lend an ear.
So Kelly's being understandable because she knows she's been through some shit, right? Paul, meanwhile, he's being understandable, but he's only trying to get down her pants, dude. Like, he's like, you know what? You want me to stay the night?
Oh, yeah, he's like...
And they're like, no, initially. And then all of a sudden she's like, well, you can sleep on the couch.
He's like, it'll make you feel safe.
Yeah.
I was like, this carny dude is going to fight as a demon.
Fucking hilarious, dude. So
Kelly makes a little punch here. Did you catch it?
What?
When Paul offers, when he offers to spend the night over, she's like, are you kidding me? She's like, you should be more worried about waking up to Paul humping your leg.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, so they come up with a plan. Everybody's going to stay. Apparently, Yara stays too because she's there.
Yeah.
Later that night, they're brushing their teeth, and they really paint Yara to be a disgusting pig. Like, first she farts in the first scene, and then this one, she's just fucking going hard on her toenails.
While brushing her teeth, sitting on the toilet.
She ain't brushing her teeth, though. She's eating a Twizzlers while the other girls are brushing their teeth, getting ready for bed. So they're really painting her to be just this nasty troll.
At this point, I had in my notes, it's like, get ready for bed. Yara's there too, in parentheses. Does she live there? Who is related? Because I was trying to keep track of who is who, like, because Yara's always there, so I wasn't sure if she was also related to them or not, but she's not. She's just a friend.
Yeah, just a friend. And then, so everybody's hunkered down. They show it. Does Yara and Kelly sleep with her in the room, or?
Kelly and Yara are in one bedroom. Paul is in the living room. And then they show a little bit of the mom with a possible drinking problem. Like, they kind of quickly grace over her bedroom. You see a bottle of wine on the dresser, and then just like they only show her leg, and she still has the shoes on, so she didn't even try. She passed out drunk, something.
Wow, no wonder your kids are getting STDs.
Yeah, Jay comes downstairs with a blanket and some very, very short shorts, and she tells Paul that she can't go to sleep. He's like, oh, you can sleep right here on the couch.
Sit right next to me.
Come
on my lap.
You.
Yeah, and he's watching another old horror movie, and she's talking, or he talks about, he's like, man, I don't remember the last time I stayed the night. I think I was a kid. And she's like, well, and she's like, well, you know why.
Yeah.
Because obviously he's a boy and hormones and stuff. So they have a good laugh. But then they start talking about the pornos they found behind the pizza parlor.
Mm-hmm.
Now, which brings me to this. Did you ever find porn?
Behind
out and about ever?
I'm not out and about. I found it in people's house.
So we did too. We found porn in people's houses too, at a very too young of an age, I think, where it kind of desensitized us. But it was always when we'd find porn out in the woods. Like, that's so weird. We'd just find a porno mag just in the woods.
You did?
Like, yeah, me and my friends, we'd see it, and then we'd be like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Titties!
Yeah, dude, it's just hilarious. So the fact that they find it behind a dumpster is so real to me. Like, that hit home. I'm like, fuck, that's real.
Someone just left it there.
Yeah, some pervert did. And then they're like, yeah, and then we looked at Greg's.
I didn't find porn. I found exotic novels.
Oh, shit. Mm-hmm. Classy.
I was like, oh, shit.
Wow. I just sound like Owen Wilson right there. Wow. Fascinating. So they bullshit about it, like, yeah, man. And then Greg's mom freaked the fuck out on us when we were looking out on the lawn. And she's like, yeah, tell me about it. My mom gave us the birds and bees talk, me and Kelly, which clearly didn't hold because they don't believe in using prophylactic or anything.
The other thing, so apparently Jay, she tells Paul that he was her first kiss and she was Paul's first kiss.
Mhm.
So there's a little bit of history. But then this little a-hole...
Showing that he's still crushing on her, has feelings.
But the other thing, she's like, yeah, and you went and kissed Kelly the same day. You kissed two sisters in one day.
Yeah. Oh, and then she's like, you kissed your sister.
Who?
Didn't she say that? You kissed your sister.
No, he kissed Kelly and Jay the same day.
Oh,
she said,
so I thought that was weird. I thought it was like, you kissed me, my sister, and then your sister.
No, just the two sisters. She said, that's gross. So
that's funny.
I was like, look at him trying to make moves.
Fucking stud, dude. At that point, though, then we hear a window break get shattered, like a rock gets thrown at her or something. And then she immediately is like, check that shit out. Yeah. And he's like, oh, okay.
Clearly he can't see anything because he's not the one infected.
Well, yeah. And then
he comes back. He's like, there's no one there. And she tells him, maybe you should call the police. And he's like, I don't know why this was the decision that he made, but he's like, I'm going to wake up your sister. She should call the police. It's like, dude, you grab the phone. It's next to you.
I don't understand that
So
either.
he goes, I think it's just to give it the scene. So he goes upstairs. She's downstairs alone. So she has the encounter. She goes into the kitchen to find out on her own.
Again, stupid shit.
To find on her own, see if she can see something.
This is a theme too in the movie, that every time the entity's walking, especially close, why are the breasts always out? Why is that a thing? I mean, I'm not trying to be a stickler about this, but dude, that's low hanging fruit. Like, come on, man. They can be normally dressed. We've seen that. It's
a sexual demon, so there's got to be some sort of sex.
I get it, but like one breast was hanging out and then they pee their pants. Why? I don't understand that.
I think, to me, this gave me rapey vibes. Like she was
raped?
A rape victim. It kind of looks like this
by
demon.
the entity?
I don't know about by the entity, but she looked like she could have been a rape victim. The entity, the way it presented itself, like clothes, her shirt kind of ripped off to the side, makeup smeared, one sock off. She's peeing on herself. She looked traumatized.
Is that the girl that got in the first part of the movie?
This one? No, I don't think it was her.
Well, so I want to come back to that too. Okay. The girl on the beach. So where did she play a part in this? Or is she just a random girl? Or did she get it from that guy, Hugh, and then she got killed again?
Theory I found is that she could potentially be Hugh's ex, and she gave it to him. And so now the thing is after him, so he had to pass it on.
No, that doesn't make sense.
What do you mean?
Because then why was it after her? It wouldn't make sense.
Or he gave it to her.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
but maybe.
No, it was a random girl at a bar that gave it to him, right? Well, was she the random girl?
Maybe.
But no, because then she dies. Because that can't be the random girl. It would have to be after the fact. But he doesn't say anything about that at all. I just don't know where that girl played a part. And then another thing is,
I think it's for the shock.
Okay, I understand that. And another thing is, why, if she died, like, this thing would eventually get to the end at some point. Like, how long has this been going on? And it would eventually die. It would just kill itself then at that point.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't make sense. Like, how it's doing that and how it actually feeds off people.
And again, they follow. Maybe they give an origin story, but just glaring at me.
It just doesn't. No, that's how. It doesn't hold weight. The movie fucking sucks because of that, though. And he and the director has made comments. Oh, the openness of it. Leave it to your imagination. Fuck you, dude. That is fucking lazy writing. That's what I'm talking about. Anyways, let's go back to the fucking one where the teens peed her pants and Jay runs up the stairs and locks herself in her bedroom.
Yeah, the other thing, the entity here, she has her hands tied behind her back.
Yeah, which was weird too.
Rape victim, I'm telling you.
Which I know Hugh said the entity's gonna look at ways to freak you out and get close to you.
It's gonna look like everything and anyone
And anything, though,
Yeah.
to just freak you out.
Well, it was shocking.
Yeah. But-
Entity or not.
Yeah, so she locks herself in her room. Paul and Kelly are beating on the door, telling them to let her in. Let them in. She's kind of curled up, but then she eventually does let him in, shuts the door, locks it again, and is trying to explain stuff. And they're still like, hey, man, nobody's here. Like, someone did try to break the glass, or did, but still nobody's here. I looked. And they still haven't put two together. And then the door knocks.
The door handles
Handle's jiggling. Yeah, it's jiggling. And then it's Yara who's like, hey, let me in. And they open it. And then you see the entity as this tall ogre looking guy.
Super tall, white t-shirt. Did you see the theme? The entities, it seems like the ones that had some sort of clothing on them, it was all white, or at least a piece of the thing was
old-timey
white.
too.
Yeah.
So she's like, oh shit, fuck this, and jumps out the window. And then rides off on, it looks like Paul's bike.
Paul's. Yeah, she takes off, and then Greg, and it looks like he's on a date in the car on the street.
Smoking weed.
And they just see Jay ride her bike away.
She goes to the park, and then Kelly, Yara, and Paul all chase her down and like, man, you could have got hurt. What are you doing? And she's freaking out. She's like, I've seen something. And they're trying to console her because she's been through some shit, obviously. And they still think it's just mental, like PTSD.
Yeah.
But then you see Greg walking briskly towards them, and she's like, whoa, do you guys see that? And they're like, yeah, we see that. And then it's him, and he's like, whoa, what's going on? And yada, yada, yada. And she's like, man, I can't go home. We're not going home. And he's like, and he starts walking away, and she's like, you're just going to go home?
Yeah.
And he's like, nah, bitch, I'm grabbing my car.
Yeah, because Jay says that she doesn't want to call the police. She wants to find Hugh and ask more questions of him.
Yeah. Which Greg's pretty cool about it. He's like, yo, I want to help. And he's just cool about it.
They all get in the car. No one, holes. They... Jay is in college, but Yara and Kelly don't look like they're college students.
They're like 17 or 18.
And no one told their parents that they didn't care that they took off in the middle of the night.
Jay and Kelly's mom's an alcoholic, passed out. And Yara was staying the night.
So, okay. So they drive to the side of town that looks run down, like a rough area of town.
Yeah.
To the address that Jay had for Hugh to go look for him. And then they stop at this abandoned looking house that has some of the windows are boarded up, covered with foil, and of course they break in through the windows and they get inside.
Yeah, and then so they're checking it out. It's creepy. It looks like an old crack house. Obviously it's Detroit. It's one of the neighborhoods that was kind of ravaged. And
yeah, there's the windows are all covered with newspaper.
Yeah.
There's soda cans hanging with string by the windows. I'm assuming
for alarms. And then, so he has all the windows taped up too, so the entity can't see him. And then as they're going through it, Jay's on one side and Kelly's on the other. And then I think it's Kelly pushes the wall and the little section opens up. They scream. It's like a little jump moment. But this just shows that, again, it goes back to the rules. Always have exits. So when he was in that bathroom, he would have an exit strategy to get out. But a hole in this story and a hole in this house have two exits. How come the bed and where he was staying was upstairs then? It was at the very top. Where's your exit?
Window.
No, it was too high up. That's what I was asking. It's a plot hole again. Come on. But anyways, Paul's up there. He's looking at the noonie bag that's there, and Jay's walking through. She looks out the window and thinks she sees the entity walk by, which I don't think it was. I think it was just a person. Dude.
The one thing Paul finds his magazines. There's tissues crumpled up next to him.
Oh yeah, he was jerking
So
it,
it's
dude.
like this dude is scared for his life, yet he still has the libido.
Yeah, man. He's
yeah,
jerking it.
I think that would be the last thing on my mind.
And then the picture. So the picture he does find, they associate. They're like, "Whoa, does this look familiar?" The high school, and she's like, "Yeah." It's like Lamont or something. But the girl in the picture, is that the girl in the beginning?
I couldn't tell. I didn't pause. I should have.
Yeah, I can't remember. I should have looked too. I wasn't remembering. But they're like, "Oh shit!" And Paul's like, "Well, if you go there, they're gonna be able to tell you who that is."
So they go to the high school, and then Jay and Greg go inside, and again, Jay's still in her pajamas with a coat, just strolling through this high school. And then it looks like they go to the library, and the lady there like shows him, I'm assuming, yearbooks, and they find out who he is. So they come outside, and Paul, Yara, and Kelly, they're like, asking if she found something, and then that's when they are like,
at that point, the entity is walking. Do you remember that? Like as they're in there in that office, before they pan to them in the office, they show in the courtyard the thing walking at a random area. It starts at like a wall and a window of the school and just walks straight towards you as the camera's slowly circling, getting to Jay and Greg. But never gets there. They never touch on that. Like it never gets to them at that point.
I think that's one of the most things for me, like the anxiety that this thing walks so slow. Like, it's coming.
Yeah.
And it's never going to stop coming. But like, if it was fast, I don't know, it's like a band-aid, you rip it off. But the fact that there's so much like waiting.
It's like the world's worst game of tag. It's fucking stupid. The concept sucks. I'm sorry. The concept of this movie sucks.
Richard doesn't like it.
It doesn't.
Okay.
And hey, more power to you if you enjoy this movie. I didn't enjoy it. I'm gonna be real. And we're about halfway through this movie talking about it. I have not enjoyed it. It was just bored. I was working out during it. I was doing other things while watching this movie just because it was not entertaining me. It was not catching me.
Well, you don't like slow movies, period.
I don't mind slow movies, but you gotta have a point.
Favorite.
You gotta have a point with it. And horror movies should not be that slow of a pace. That's why what's his name? I do not.
I know. I would try to show you movies that I've enjoyed, and you're like, "There's too slow."
Yeah,
too slow.
I've grown accustomed to a certain pacing, and when you're way off the pace, you better have a good reason why you're off that pace.
The movie's not for Richard.
Yeah.
So they find out that his real name is Jeff Raymond. Again, Jay doesn't want to tell the police. She wants to go and talk to him. And at this point, you can kind of see that Jay and Greg are forming some sort of bond because he kind of comforts her, rubs her shoulder. Yeah. And of course, Paul saw this.
And he's all jealous.
Peanut butter and jelly. So then they make it to Jeff's house, which I'm surprised that the school released that information, his address.
Yeah.
So they make it to his house.
I don't know if they did.
Well, how else would they find him?
I don't know. You could look it up different ways. This is an alternate reality, okay?
True. Maybe phone books were still around.
Well, I don't think he would be in the phone book.
His mom.
Yeah, but I don't know if you know.
So they go to his house, and then his mom answers, and they ask for Jeff, and she's like, "Oh yeah, you want to come in?" So
this is a weird part of the movie. When they go to this house, and she's like, "Oh, how about your friends? Come in." I don't think Hugh/Jeff is really 21 years old because they go out back and they're all sitting crisscross applesauce, and the mom gives them snacks and Coolidge cola, grape soda.
Yeah.
And they're all sitting around.
Frost on him too.
Yes, they're all sitting around, and he just looks like a child. So, dude, that makes me think he's like 16 or 17 because
maybe he's traumatized.
Even younger. It's not traumatized because they're all dealing with it. They're all doing that, and it just doesn't seem like a 21-year-old man, even though you're young, would be doing that.
I can see it. I think if you're messed up enough in the head, you will revert back to, I need to, your parents are usually are the ones that keep you safe. But
the mom's not even phased.
Well, she's nurturing him. She's letting him stay with her.
But she's not phased. She's like, oh yeah, his friends, come on in.
Do you
like,
think that she knows why they're there?
No, but at the same time, she's treating it like he's like a 12-year-old. Like, oh, he's got his buddies over. I'm going to get him snacks.
If my kid came to me at 21 and just needed to stay home, I'm not going to question you. I'll try to offer help, but yeah, you can stay here.
Okay, I'm not disputing that part of this. What I'm saying is he's like a child. Like his actions, his mannerisms, what they're doing is childlike. It's not adult-like. Yeah, you can be adult-like, and live with your parents, but dude, the thing is, like, it was just too childlike. I don't know. It took me out of it. He seemed like he was 12, not 21.
Okay.
I don't know.
Agree to disagree.
So you're saying you'd be sucking down the Coolidge grape soda with your friends, just chilling in a circle?
Yeah, if you're traumatized enough, if you've been, I don't know, sometimes it's hard to get out of a certain state of mind.
I get being freaked out, but I wouldn't revert to that. Anyways, so with it, he's freaked out, obviously. He's looking at all things. She's checked out because she's putting like grass blades on her knee. And
those are called grass blades?
Yeah.
Oh.
So blades of grass. But what's he ask her? Or what does she ask him?
One thing he says is, although he no longer has it, he can still see it. So he sees entities. Yeah. And again, he tells her,
so it's still after him, but not.
Well, he sees it.
Yeah. Like he's not off the hook.
Yeah. Maybe he's just, I don't know, anxious. And he tells her again, like, you need to sleep with someone else, and then you can also get rid of it, and then it's fine.
So that's a curious thing. He still sees entities. Well, how would he see it if they're not even close to each other? Because the entity is going to be going after her, not him.
Again, maybe it's all in his head at this point. Oh. And then he says, do the same thing that I did. Pass it on to someone else. And then he says, it should be easier for you. You're a girl.
You're a girl. What, did you believe that? It is a lot easier for girls than guys.
Yeah. I don't know.
Guys have one-track minds, man.
And then they're like, yup, whatever you say.
Yeah. So yeah, and then she's left with the ultimatum there. He ends up being like, "Whoa, do you see that girl that's walking with a soccer ball or whatever?"
And they're like, "Yeah."
Yeah, what the fuck? Yeah. And they're like, "I don't know what you said to her or what you did to her, but you did some damage or whatever." And he's like, "Dude, I got to fucking go."
Yeah, and he said that, he's like, "Actually, you're all here. That means that thing's coming for you and you're here with me, so I'm not safe. So all of you need to get the hell out of here."
Yeah.
Because he says, it doesn't matter where. It's always walking towards you, straight towards you. Doesn't matter how far away you are. It's just coming. So they pop back onto the road. And this has been a long trip, apparently. They're still wearing the same clothes. Yaris is asleep on the front seat. And then Kelly asks if Greg's mom's gonna freak out. So they have like some plan in motion that they haven't really fully told us yet. And he's like, "Oh, she won't know." And then Kelly asks Jay, "Have you thought about what Jeff said? Like sleeping with someone else and just getting rid of the thing and let it be someone else's problem." And Jay's still unsure. She says that she doesn't know.
Well, and then they share a moment though, Greg and Kelly, because when Kelly asks that, like, "Oh, did your mom go?" And he's like, "Nah." And then she's like, "That's really cool of you," and has that moment, like, again, that she really likes him. Mm-hmm. And then again, nothing happens. This is the last moment you have that connection, and then it's gone.
Yeah, and then they arrive at this beautiful road, and this is where you get fall vibes, because it's like orange and red leaves all over the floor on the road.
But then when they're at the beach, Yara's in the water just chilling, and it's all good water, like it's warm.
Yeah. Kelly's making food. Jay's looking at the window still, just kind of keeping an eye out. And then you can kind of see him. They're spending the night there. And then in the next morning, Greg goes out onto the shop that they have next to this house.
Oh, yeah, he grabs the gun.
He grabs the gun, and then he brings Jay out, and he's teaching her how to shoot to defend herself.
Which reminds me of the time I taught you how to shoot.
So romantic. I have a scar.
You got a scar.
On my
That's hilarious.
stomach.
He kept jamming the gun. I'm like, motherfucker.
Well, I don't know.
That was
I
hilarious.
have weak wrists.
It
We
was
talked about
hilarious.
this. And the
Oh,
stupid shows
but-
fell inside my shirt.
but you had fun?
It was fun.
You in Vienna. Oh my God.
Thanks. Thanks for that experience, Richard.
You're welcome. It was fun. It was a crazy experience.
That was a great, yeah. It was a fun road trip.
Yeah.
And then Greg and Jay are talking, and Jay she mentions that sometimes she's lonely, and he's like, well, I'm right across the street.
And he's like, I should have never left your side or whatever. I should have been there more.
Yeah, and he's like, well, if you ever, kind of saying if she ever gets lonely, he's just right across the street from her.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, they all go to they're sitting by the beach drinking, and then Paul's sitting next to Jay, and he just keeps, like, side-eyeing her and just watching her. And, yeah, like you said, Yara's on like, a floaty on the water.
Yeah.
And then far into the distance in the back,
You see it. Again, this is the effective part of this movie, is the anxiety, knowing that thing is in the background walking. They don't know. Would you ever have your back against anything you didn't see at this point when you know something's trying to follow you?
if it's walking, because so far it's never been known to swim, so walk. So no, I would have been watching my back.
Yeah, I'd be like, dude, I would have my head on a swivel. But yeah, so they're doing that. And then eventually, so Greg goes off and he's going to pee. And then this entity walks up and it's taken the form of a lady, but it grabs
Did
her
you
hair.
notice who the lady was?
Who?
It's Yara.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, just bloodied, beat up. Because that's one thing Jeff said, is they can look like someone you already know.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then right now...
But I don't know why they did that right there, though.
It's just, like,
The effect would have been better if Yara wasn't around. And then she's like, hey, Yara, like trying to talk to the entity. And then finding out when you're getting close enough. Like, oh, fuck, that's not her. Like, yeah, the real Yara pops out would have been better.
Yeah, I still like it.
I don't know. It could have been
'Cause she's
anybody
right
at that
there.
point. That was cheap. I don't know.
I thought it was...
It was giving a character more of a role.
I thought it was good. Just, Yara's here in a supportive role.
Yeah.
Tagging along, and then
But she's barely in the movie.
The entity's messing with you, taking on the shape of someone who's there in a supportive role.
But
Don't shit on it, Richard. Just go with it.
they could have did it to where like Greg left.
They had $1 million.
It could have been, yeah, but they could have done it where Greg left because he went to go to the bathroom, right? Well, they could have had the entity walk up and be Greg because he wasn't in there.
I know what you want, but that's not what happened.
That's what should have happened, is what
It's
I'm
okay.
saying.
I think it was effective.
The scene was effective, but what I'm telling you, it could have been anybody. That was just kind of a cop-out. It was cheap. I don't know.
Nobody sees a thing.
Lack of storytelling.
Kelly's having a conversation with Jay, so, it's where the entity's coming, where Kelly would have seen it, but clearly she can't see it. So it's just, again, the anxiety that it's coming. Everyone else who actually looks in the direction can't see it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, and then Yara tells them, she's like, oh, you guys should come in the water. They're contemplating it. And that's where it kind of makes you like, yes, please, like, get in the fucking water.
Right. You're like, oh, shit, go. But at this time, she's like, oh, maybe I will, maybe I won't, maybe later. And then this is where they do believe her, because then the entity grabs her hair and pulls it up. And then Kelly's like, what the fuck?
Pulls her out of the chair.
Yeah. And then Paul's like, oh, shit. And he grabs the little chair and swings at the air.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, that the force, the entity hits him.
He's just flying.
Yeah, he
across.
flies off, which I thought was pretty cool. And then, so they take off running and they run to the shed. She grabs the gun.
And she starts shooting like a maniac, almost hits
Well,
Greg.
not at this point. The thing's beating on the door and the entity can pick and choose what it wants to be. This is where the storytelling doesn't make sense, because now there's motive to why the entity picks what it does, right?
Mhm.
That big ogre guy comes back, and
Oh.
he's the one that bursts through the door. And then it turns into a little boy that can crawl through the hole.
Mhm.
And then this is where, what's her name, shooting. And she starts shooting at the door.
No, she shoots when the entity looks like yarn, and they lock the door when she runs out of bullets.
Which I thought a cool part of the story would be if she was shooting and accidentally shoots Greg in the head. Or shoots Greg. It would have been great, dude. It would have been a great part of the story because you're shooting at him. And I thought, oh, for sure someone's going to get fucking hit because it's just reckless. It's a ghost. And I thought for sure Greg was getting hit, but of course not. Doesn't get hit. He hides behind the chair and somehow doesn't get hit.
At the same time, it did give me a little bit of anxiety because he's outside.
Yes.
He's like, why are you guys locked in there? The entity's not after him, but at the same time, it's like, oh, like the next time that we see the entity, is it going to be is it going to look like Greg, or is it actually going to be Greg? So that's where you kind of don't know.
Oh, and that would be pretty effective if they did that, but they did not do that. So the thing walks through the floor there, and Paul, Kelly, and Yara are like, "What do you see? What do you see? What is it?" And she doesn't say anything. She just runs through the side of the door, barn door thing, and she runs out on the sand, and then she starts booking it. And they're chasing after her, and the entity is walking with them, and it shows her going to the car as the entity's behind her, and as they're running past even the entity, and she peels out in the car and leaves them behind, and gets on that road, and then all of a sudden a truck was backing out and backed out in the street. She swerves, gets into the cornfield.
Boom.
Again, I have another plot hole here. I know you're hating this, but this is just my opinion. You can have a different opinion on this. Because this point in time, she gets knocked out, right? Right there. I don't know how long she was knocked out, but the entity was super close. So why wouldn't that entity do anything like grab her and kill her at that point?
I don't know, man. What?
You don't know?
I don't know.
I'm just saying, like, so this is where the director, pushes and pulls with the story, the rules. Like, have set rules. Like, why have it open? That's so frustrating and irritating. It's like, dude, like, she's dead to rights right there. Like, the story should end. I know you need to progress it and end the story, but why have that part right there? Because now you got an inconsistency with what's been going on this whole movie.
Well, it leads to the next big.
And I could be totally wrong, guys, on this, and honestly, I'm probably putting too much thought into it.
You are.
But I do this with every movie, and let's face it, Friday the 13th Part 7 New Blood had more consistency than this movie. I'm throwing that down right now.
Consistency?
Yes.
I think that's the point of this movie. It keeps you guessing.
Yeah, but some of it's just flat out stupid.
It keeps you guessing.
Because then the entity...
You don't know when it's coming.
But then the entity just drops back and doesn't do it.
So then they're back at the hospital. They take Jay to the hospital.
Yeah.
All her friends.
I don't know why you won't let me explore this stuff.
You're just going in a hole over the same stuff. I don't think that the movie was supposed to be very deep and in depth, and you want it to be very depth and have consistency.
Well, because he's asking a lot of the viewer to have a lot of imagination for this movie, and it's just there's some things. Come on, you could have done a little bit more. It was a little bit lazy. I keep saying it. That's the common theme of this movie. Laziness.
Jason has a cast over her arm. And then, again, playing with the anxiety, she keeps looking at the door towards the hallway as all the nurses are walking by.
So
she hears footsteps.
This was effective. I even felt the anxiety on this, though. Because didn't you? Like, there's always someone walking by. You've been in hospitals, right?
Is. Yeah, you don't know who's going to come up through that door.
And they're randos, so you don't know if it's going to be the thing or not.
The other thing, you're strapped down to a bed. It's going to be pretty hard to just take off running from there. And
you're beat up. Yeah, you're all fucked up.
And you're in a bedroom, and then the hospital rooms only have one door. One in and out. So how are you going to escape this thing? And the windows are not... accessible.
Right. So that was kind of the anxiety inducing that it was effective. That part I did like.
Okay. And then Greg wakes up. They give each other a little look.
Mm-hmm.
And then it pans out through a bunch of different hospital rooms, different families.
Times changed because it was the next day because nobody else is in there.
Yeah.
And then Greg slips in, and I guess this was the sexiest moment ever. Her in a nightgown, medical nightgown in the bed, all beat up.
They do the dirty. One thing I saw the entire time, I can't
Which this wouldn't happen because she has a little heart rate monitor on her finger. And that would be going crazy.
The nurses would have run in there. This bitch is having a heart attack.
Exactly.
Can you imagine?
Oh,
I wonder if that's ever happened at a hospital.
I don't know. Probably. Probably.
She didn't fucking care.
But yeah, they're getting it on a little bit of bump and grind.
I was confused by this scene because at first it looks like she's enjoying it. And then the rest of it, she's just staring straight at the ceiling.
Yeah, like she's being raped.
And I was like, so what's happening? I don't know. And then fast forward, Greg's at school. Nothing happened.
He's mowing down on a burger, flirting with other chicks, sitting with 3 other girls.
He's a playa.
Yeah, and then he comes back to the hospital. Paul is out in the hallway just staring him down
and
like, you fucking piece of shit.
They're having a little connection, flirting.
Yeah, he's holding her hand. Yeah, it's like, so wait a minute. Is Greg with those other girls at the table, or is he with her?
Maybe
he's just macking,
just a
dude.
Popular boy.
Which... Okay, I'm going to bring up another inconsistency here.
Oh, my Lord. We're never going to finish today.
Angelus, here's another inconsistency. So Greg, it transfers to Greg, right?
Yeah.
Because they did it in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, then days go by.
It's been 3 days.
3 days, and this motherfucker doesn't see shit, and then it doesn't follow him. The director picks and chooses what he wants to do. Usually it's pretty aggressive because it happened the night of. It was walking towards her. But now it takes 3 days for this fucking thing to even decide to get close to Greg. Come on.
Do you think it has anything to do with everyone else seems a little bit more scared, and Greg stirred up the entire time up until now. He's been calling bullshit. It's not true. It's made up of beliefs. So
I don't know if he was scared to begin with.
Well, at the end, Paul asks why Greg, and she says that.
I know the justification for them, but at the same time, that wouldn't stop the entity. It would still walk towards you.
True.
Yeah, so that's my argument. But she gets home, and then the 3rd day, I think, are we just making up the days?
No. So the last time they talked, it's been 3 days.
Okay, so he rolls up to her house. They're sitting on the porch, but Jay's upstairs.
Yeah, and then Greg comes over and asks if he can talk to her. Her sister Kelly says that she doesn't think it's a good idea. And they ask him, they're like, have you seen anything? And he's like, no, really, I haven't seen anything, but I guess we'll know sooner or later if I do see something and if it's real.
Yeah.
And then Paul, he's like, well, confused. I don't get it. He hit something. He's like, the chair broke midair. And when that scene happened, he lifted up his shirt when the entity punched him and had bruising on his stomach.
Which I thought that would play a little more of effect with what was going on. But
that it was real.
I wish they would have touched a little bit more on that, on the body affecting people.
Yeah, and then Greg again brushes it off and he's like, well, it was something. And then he goes back home. And then here, I don't know if more days go by because
I think it's later that night.
Okay.
And she's sitting there not being able to sleep. She's looking out the window looking for that fucking thing, which I would be too.
Yeah. And then you see a younger guy.
You see Greg.
Full on pajamas.
Yeah, it's Greg.
It is?
And she knocks on the window, and she's like, hey man, hey, and
I didn't think
doesn't
I thought
say
Greg
anything.
had longer hair.
The thing has longer hair right there.
I did not see that.
So, and then the entity starts shaking the handle, can't get in, and all of a sudden its MO is to break a window. and it shatters a window, which Greg and his mom do not wake up. The entity, I don't know if Greg's mom is home. The entity goes through the window, and then that's when Jay runs down, and
She tries calling him, and no one picks up the phone.
Yeah, and she runs across the street, and then nobody's still answering. So she jumps through the window, pretty much incriminating herself, even though this never comes full circle. You would think the cops would question her ass because her DNA and shit is all over the place, prints, everything. But they don't. It's cool. But again, whatever, nitpicking. But so she goes upstairs, and then the entity has now taken the form of Greg's mom, and it's just incessantly just beating on the door.
White robe, just underwear, no bra.
Which this thing's been beating on the door, and then it stops. It doesn't acknowledge anybody else before that it's not have like
the thing.
Yeah, the entity has someone in its sights, right? And that's the only focus it has. But this instance right here, again, an inconsistency. Jay's like, "Hey, stop!" And then the entity looks at her, stops knocking, and looks at her. It's never done that before, but it does it right there. That's cheap. That's lazy writing.
Did it stop for Jeff? Did they have the interaction with Jeff?
No. If you remember, it kept walking past him. Wasn't focused on him. On the first date thing, when he has her in the wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
And any time before, it has never acknowledged anybody else.
Cool.
I'm just saying. I don't know.
You're so ticked by the little inconsistencies.
Like, you didn't catch that?
I did see that, but it didn't bug me. I still think it's creepy. It's his mom now.
Yeah, dude, okay. And then so it starts beating on the door again, and then Jeff's like, "Mom, what the fuck?" And then it's weird, and he doesn't register it either. Like, the mom's breasts out, and then
he kind of looks down.
She's peeing her pants.
Is she?
Yeah, she's peeing. And then all of a sudden, you see the entity leap on him through the hallway. And then Jay's like, "What the fuck?" Runs in there.
There's like then, lights flashing out into the hallway.
And then the entity's just riding, dude, full cowgirl on Greg.
The most craziest fucking scene in this entire movie.
This was weird. I'm like, dude, what the fuck?
They focus in, their hands are like intertwining the way they're holding, like a very sexual, sensual time weird, that it was happening. Cool. And then there was like the slobber just coming from between them. And then they focus on the crotch. She's full with underwear on, but it's just oozing with like the liquid. And what they said online is, he is raped to death by the entity. Yeah, that was just it was shocking because it took the figure of his mom, and then he's just laying there lifeless, just pale. You can kind of see in the background like lights are still flickering. And then Jay runs out. She knows that it's back to her again, so she gets in the car.
Yeah, they peel out
and drives away.
Everybody gets out and goes, and then you see the entity. Is this the point when you see it upstairs?
No, not
or
yet.
On top of the house.
No, it just comes out of Greg's house, and it's walking towards the car.
That's right.
No, this scene, Jade drives away by herself.
Okay.
This is where she goes out into the woods by herself. Okay. She falls asleep on the car.
So she does kind of similar what the girl did in the beginning of the movie. Mm-hmm. But this scene, she gets out and she walks towards the water, and then she sees 3 dudes on a boat. Mm-hmm. You're like, you kind of figure, oh, I know what's going to go on. She's going to do, the deed.
Yeah.
And so she starts to take her clothes off. She's going to swim out there. Mm-hmm. So you think. And it shows her like getting back to the house.
Driving back,
she's upset. You think she went and did something she didn't want to do. But in fact, she didn't do it, which you don't know until Kelly and them say something or talking about it. Mm-hmm. But did you think she went out there, swam out there on the boat?
At first, I thought she was going to, but when she's in the car driving back, she still looked upset. So that kind of gave me like, okay, she didn't do it.
I took it as she was upset she did it. She's like, man, I had to reduce myself. And
the one thing that I found is, jumping on your bandwagon of inconsistencies. If she
have inconsistencies,
even if she had So
Let her rip, girl. Come on, go hard on it.
I'm
Go
not trying
hard.
to go
I've been
hard.
going hard.
My thing is, so every time, yes, this is an exit way. You sleep with someone else and you give it to them. I think the only way that this is effective is if you sit there and you have a discussion with the person every single time, because if they don't know that they're not supposed to let the thing touch you or kill it, it's going to make it down. So obviously the person prior is going to be a lot more concerned over that, you know? So every
Yeah.
time you do it, you have to deliver a speech and be like, yo,
so kind of like when you
this
have
is
herpes or
this.
AIDS.
From now, yeah, you should probably have the conversation before.
Hey, by the way,
By the way.
probably get checked out.
It's going to hunt you forever. But
I mean, that's the scariest part of this whole movie, right? Is the after sex conversation. Like, it's not like, hey, what's up? It's like, by the way.
I got rid of my demon.
And
it's all
and
too
yeah,
late.
and I would be like, oh yeah, you did, girl. You're going crazy. And you'd be like, no, you got rid of a real demon.
And,
Oh my gosh, shit, you gave me AIDS?
and then back at Jay's house, she drives back. So yeah, she makes it home. I don't know if some time has gone by, because at this point the pool is drained out and it looks dirty, so no one's been using it.
Well, it got like damaged.
Scenes of Jay again laying in bed not eating.
Yeah.
So she's down and bummed out, and then Paul comes over and she's still in a panicky mode. She still has like that chair propped up behind the door, keeping it locked.
Yeah.
And that's when, you know, she's like, well, it's still gonna be here sooner or later. And he's like, well, why don't you just pass it on? And she says, I already did once. This is where I was talking about earlier, you know, like she selected Greg because she thought that he could take it. He didn't, you know, seem scared.
Right.
And Paul was like, well, I like you too. And then he goes on to question, you know.
Man, she's getting passed around like a dirty rag, dude.
Yeah, and then and the other thing that she says is Greg and I had already slept together in high school and it wasn't a big deal. So she knew, like,
Yeah.
and I think, and this is where that scene where we see Greg after hanging out with those girls at the high school the next day, and it's fine.
Yeah. And why
Jay
is Greg
says-
hanging out at high school?
Or not at high school, just at school.
I'm kidding.
No, but she says, you know, we had already slept before and he didn't make a big deal. Because I don't know if it seemed like it was just sex. It wasn't.
Greg's a player.
Player from the
So right here, now they came up with a game plan though.
No, and then this is the scene. So before they make their plan, something bugged me about Paul. She's saying no.
Yeah, he's a little
She's
rapey.
fucking distressed. She's depressed. She's anxious. Fucking fearing for her life.
And he's like, come on, girl,
She'll
let me...
make a move and kiss her.
Yeah, he's like,
She
let me get
pulls
in
away.
those chonies.
He's like, I just want to help. I was like, dude, fuck you.
You just want some punani, bro. Get the
You've
fuck
been
out of here.
staring at her since the movie started before she had the demon.
Drooling at her.
Yeah, and then the police are at Kirk's house investigating. And then Paul sees the picture on Jay's mirror of her in the pool, and that's where they get the idea. And he's like, do you remember where they kissed for the first time? And she's like, yeah. And then they all get in the car.
Yeah, and that's the plan. And then they make a little comment when they're getting there. They get out of the car and they have to walk ways for some reason.
Well, you forgot the last entity that we see at Jay's house. So your favorite one.
So I thought he was stark ass naked and there's just old man dick up there.
Yeah.
He's wearing a loincloth.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, it's a black loincloth.
Oh.
I paused it. I was just curious. I'm like, what's this?
Man?
I needed to see what kind of hog this guy was working with. But apparently he had a loincloth on. Hey, I was trying to give this movie all the chance, okay?
Well, you're trying to find a plot hole in his in his wiener.
I was trying to give it every opportunity to redeem itself,
His
okay?
penis was not realistic enough. It was floating. And it should have not been floating. His balls were too low.
Well, that show were we watching? It's on Netflix with the arachnophobia Jeff Daniels.
Oh.
It shows that rock hard fucking dick.
Shit.
That thing's so fake. It was like so huge.
They just open up the scene and his penis is whoop. Man on the road. No.
Oh, Man in Full.
Man in Full.
Hey, if anyways that hasn't seen that's a good series, by the way. Watch it. It's pretty entertaining. So anyways, as they're getting there, they get out of the car and walk. And Yara starts saying, when I was a kid, I didn't understand. My parents said that you go past 8 Mile, never go past that. And I don't know what she was saying. I don't understand.
She said
the separation of cultures, I guess.
And I think the neighborhoods too, like you were saying. She said they wouldn't let her go past 8 Mile. I didn't know what it meant. And then when she got older, she realized that's where the city started and the suburbs were ended. And then she says that she remembers even to go to the state fair, she had to ask for permission to go to that side of
even
of
when
town.
Going with her friend's parents.
Yeah. And then they get inside the pool or the building.
Yeah. The rec center.
They're carrying these like suitcases, and then Paul, he's like, "How
Full
long
of
do you
the
think?"
electronics, right?
She says, She says that maybe a few hours, and then you kind of start seeing their plan develop. So they're hooking up electronics like TVs, radios, hair dryers all around the pool and plugging them in.
Right.
So plan is get the entity in the water and electrocute it to death.
Yeah.
And then
thinking because at this point they know they can hurt it or at least slow it down because they've
smacked it with the chair.
Yeah, they hit it with the chair and they did something else to it. They shot it in the head.
Oh, yeah, but it still got up.
It still got up right away, but they're thinking they could slow it down even with electrocuting it.
Well, I mean, it doesn't hurt to try.
No, so their plan is they line everything up around the pool, right? Mm-hmm. All the electricals, stuff. They got them plugged in, which, I mean, where did they find all those extension cords?
I don't know.
They're kids. But that there was a lot of stuff that they lined up that there's no way they packed in with them because when they were walking, they all had like one bag each.
Yeah. Like the TV and the radio. It was like a bigger radio.
Yeah. And then.
And the lamps are so big.
Yeah. It was dumb. It didn't make sense. And then they're all waiting around bored. Yara busts out her clam phone thing.
E-reader.
And then her e-reader. And then Jay gets into the center of the pool, is waiting. Mm-hmm. And then this is where she starts screaming because the entity shows up. And then Kelly's like, what's it look like? And this is where I wish they would have emphasized and maybe made the story a little bit more compelling, where they didn't make it super obvious the dad was it, but they didn't even touch on it. They didn't touch on it whatsoever, except that little moment when she's like, I don't want to say.
She was protecting her sister.
That part, I get that part, but they could have done it a little bit more.
Zoom in on his face a little more.
And, having a little bit of dialogue with that, like how traumatic that is to see
Daddy,
your dead
I'm sorry, I love you.
Yeah, something like that. And then, but no, they don't do that. And then the entity does something different here too.
He's like, fuck you. I'm gonna fight back.
Is the entity afraid of water? Does it somehow weaken it?
I think that's one thing that Jeff said is it's smart. It's slow, but it's really smart at the beginning.
But does it weaken it? Like, does water have a play in this? Because it does not like water and they're always around water when they...
I don't know that it doesn't like water.
Yeah, because it doesn't get in. It doesn't want to. Usually any other time, this entity has walked straight to the person.
Or it knows what their plan is.
Maybe, I guess, but to me, that's not telling me the whole thing, because even if it knows the plan, it's set to walk directly to the person.
I know, but the main purpose is to kill the person.
Right.
So it's going to electrocute Jay and kill her.
Yeah. I guess. I don't know. And that's another part of this movie they don't really explain in full. When the electrical stuff is being thrown at her by the entity, it's just chucking it at her. She's not getting electrocuted.
I know. That's where I was like, well, their plan wouldn't have worked either ways.
It was stupid.
Yeah. They're like, well, it's a good thing it doesn't work.
Which I'm like, this whole part of the movie is stupid. It's pointless. But so now they're being thrown, but then
Paul goes and gets the
gun. Yeah, and he starts shooting. He accidentally shoots Yara in the leg. And then Kelly finally did a smart thing. She took a sheet and was like waving it around, trying to catch the entity so they know where it's at. And they finally do catch the entity, and then Paul is able to shoot it.
Yeah, because they can actually see a figure finally.
Yeah, and it falls into the pool.
Mm-hmm.
And it does look like it's deterred for a second as she's trying to get up out of the pool. Jay, it grabs her foot, her leg, and won't let her up. And then again, Paul's dumbass is shooting at Jay.
At the water, yeah.
And then luckily doesn't hit her, hits the entity in the head again, shoots him in the head. And then let's go. She gets out, but then they're asking, hey, is it still there? Well, she goes over to look over in the pool, and I thought this has been a perfect jump moment if the thing jumped out and grabbed her.
But it's no.
It's not. And then it does a weird thing that, again, has never happened before. All this blood, the pool turns into blood.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't understand what that was trying to say.
It bleeds? I don't know.
I don't know either.
I think it's just to trick you for a second. Maybe you can kill it.
Yeah. Well, I know what it was I know what they're trying to do, but I just,
Yeah,
How
just
effective?
not
How did
happy.
you feel about it? Like you were satisfied with that.
I knew it was too good to be true.
Okay.
I was like, oh,
But
they
how
shot
that scene went, you were satisfied with how that went?
her looking over and just seeing blood.
Well, just all together, the whole scene being in that pool, that whole pool scene.
Meh.
Man, I was too. That's what I'm saying.
Meh.
So it cuts to now where they think they're kind of free. I don't think she thinks it entirely, but Paul does. He's like, oh, hell yeah, we're going to fucking knock boots, bro.
Are they at her house or his house?
I think they're at his house.
Oh. Yeah, and then they do the hanky-panky.
Yeah, they ain't clicking heels. They're knocking boots.
They still have the door propped up against the door. And she
The chair propped up against the door.
The chair. Yeah, and she rides him to Bone Town.
Oh, it takes the fuck truck to Pound Town.
Oh my god. Yeah, and then he asks if she feels any different. She says no. She's like, do you? He's like, no. And then there's like some of like the creepy, like sinister music playing on the background.
Yeah, and the wind, the rain's just pouring.
And then you see back at Jay's house, she's laying on her bed, and I think it's her mom that's supposed to be like scratching her back. I don't know, caressing her to sleep. And she looks up and sees like a family picture on her dresser again. And then they kind of focus a little bit on everybody's faces. And I think this is where it clicked for me. Like, oh shit, that entity was her dad at the pool. When it goes from the pool to the picture.
See, I knew it from the beginning of the movie.
Because it had been so long since they briefly showed the picture. And I was like, oh my God.
Oh my God.
What happened? And then you see Paul driving around by a sketchy street. Like, it looks like there's prostitutes, ladies of the night. So it makes you think, like, wait, is he gonna
And
pass
one
it
of
on
them
to
staring
them?
him down, which naturally, because he's staring at her.
Yeah, and he just keeps driving. And then they go to the hospital because he shot Yara.
Yeah.
And she's reading from her Shell e-reader.
She was shot, so she's a gunshot victim. No cops are fucking investigating this shit.
Apparently. She didn't press charges. What a trooper.
Even if you're not pressing charges, the cops are still going to investigate a gunshot wound.
Well, maybe they didn't show it. Rich was just not happy.
I
Did you
am
ever
not.
keep up with anything that she was saying?
What?
Yara, when she's reading from her little shell thing.
I'll be honest, I kind of tuned out.
I did too. I was like, she's reading something. Some poem.
Bullshit. I know it was something deep. I got it. It had something to do with fucking whatever.
Yeah.
Even the fucking Jay and Paul are tuned out too. Jay's sleeping and
Paul is asleep.
Yeah,
And
Paul's
Jay's
asleep.
watching
Jay's
him.
like fucking daydreaming.
And then you see, and then you go to cut to see Jay and Paul dating. I don't know. They're holding
walking
hands.
down the street, holding hands.
Hands.
And then all of a sudden, it shows out of nowhere a version of Paul behind them walking towards them. And then
The credits roll.
Yep, it cuts to black.
Do 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 do. I like the little song.
Oh, yeah.
The main theme.
Yeah, the score of this movie is an A+ for me. And the cinematography, the cinematography of this is A+. It's just the storytelling, babe. Just the storytelling.
The movie explores with themes of loss of innocence, emergent sexuality, mortality, and ultimately conveying the idea that death is inevitable and always lurking. This movie, is meant as a metaphor for sexual assault culture, was what some people interpreted as. Sexually transmitted diseases, of course, and then the mistrust of authority and anxieties of growing up and losing freedoms of youth. Because, at the beginning, they're just, just being carefree, just going on a day, and then it freaking just turns for the worst.
So I have a deeper thought on this, how this movie is. You're bringing up and then the inescapable nature of the curse, the sexual transmission, but there are broader themes to this movie. And you can correct me if I'm wrong,
okay,
Angelus, but
wrong.
No, but it covers loss of innocence. The transition from adolescence to adulthood is certainly a theme within this, with the curse symbolizing the end of innocence and the onset of adult fears and responsibilities. Paranoia and anxiety, obviously. Consequences of action are another one. Mortality and death. The ever-present threat of the entity serves as a metaphor for inevitability of death, a constant looming presence that one can never fully escape. And then obviously trust and betrayal. The need to rely on others and the fear of being let down or betrayed is highlighted through the characters' interactions and the passing of the curse.
I agree. I feel like it's a good growing up consequences of your actions, movie, because I feel like a lot of us, we're young, we're gonna live forever, we can do whatever we want.
Yeah.
But sometimes our choices and life decisions have huge consequences.
So yeah, this movie obviously can be interpreted with STDs, right? But I think it also allows interpretation for multiple other ways.
Okay.
And that's what I do like about the storytelling of it. It just a little bit tighter is all I'm asking for. A little bit tighter. That's all I'm asking.
Well, a lot of room for interpretation.
Yeah, and there's a lot left to be desired about this movie, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Left a lot of meat on the bone, if you ask me. So, how, after talking about it for 2 hours, how do you feel? Did your feelings about this movie change?
I feel like after, looking at all the different ways and things that it can be interpreted, it's still okay. And again, I think maybe not necessarily horror.
It's horror. It's horror, but
this light horror is like fucking with your head.
Yeah, it's a psychological horror.
I don't know. Did your opinion change? Do you still absolutely hate it? You were like,
it's gotten worse.
It's gotten worse.
Talking about it, maybe it's one of those things too where this week maybe wasn't like super great for me. So like I noticed like mood affects a movie too. So when you watch a movie, even a terrible movie, but you're in a great mood and in the mood for it, you're gonna have a lot better outlook on it.
Okay.
But that being said, even if I was in a great mood, this movie did not do it for me at all.
Okay.
Like I said, and I like good storytelling, and this missed the mark a little bit. I'm not saying he's a terrible director. I'm just saying this movie left a lot to be desired.
Well, it was his second biggest movie.
I know.
So.
And people love it. I'm not the majority on this. This is critics and everybody love this movie. I just don't.
You're on the critic end. You're not on the.
No, the critic end is acclaimed. People love this. Even the critics do.
Really?
Yeah. Did you look up what the reception was?
So scoring wise, IMDb gave it a 6.8 out of 10.
Which is pretty good.
Rotten Tomatoes 95%.
Which is crazy.
And then Metacritic 83%. So overall higher up there.
Yeah, people love this. And I don't know if it's necessarily a unique concept because Smile came afterwards, that movie.
Oh yeah.
And I think who covered that? A podcast covered
Oh,
The
yeah.
Resemblance.
You guys,
Was it Chuddle?
no, the horror junkies covered it last week,
Oh, that's right.
actually. Smile, and they were mentioning some references to It Follows.
Which, now that they said that, I can see that
Yeah.
too, the creativity on it. Which I didn't like Smile as much, but I thought that was creepier than this movie.
That form of entity is
it
it had more of
freaked
a
me
visual
out.
effect.
Yeah. And then people like the atmospheric tension the critics did and the homage to classic horror, which I get it. He wishes he could be Halloween in this movie.
Oh my gosh. I did see there was comments about similarities with it as well, as far as like shape-shifting demonic entity terrorizing a group.
Yeah, it's your worst fears.
Undertones.
Yeah.
And then there's also, the fact that some of the actors here have been on the It movies. I don't know that that's necessarily a connection, just the whole shape-shifting thing though. Could be. Do you want me to pull up reviews?
Yeah, let's hear it. No, so this week, Vienna's review corner is now Angela's review corner for this week.
I'm assuming she fell asleep.
Yeah, but hey, it's only 11:22. Usually it's like 1:30 in the morning, 2
I
in the
sent
morning.
her a couple texts letting her know that we were almost done, and I remain unread.
Whoa, she ghosted us?
She did send me earlier her reviews that she found, because today was her last day of school. She had a
Woo woo.
play date. What do you call it? A play date? She went to go watch movies with friends and
A
hang
play
out with
date?
her friends after. So she wasn't sure she was gonna make it. I'm assuming she's pooped out.
Okay.
So she said her reviews, she found them on Letterboxd.
Shout out Letterboxd.
Someone said abstinence, 5 stars and a heart. Someone said sex, ? Canceled, 4.5 stars. And then someone else said they should have listened to the gym teacher from Mean Girls, 5 stars and a heart.
Wow, that one's pretty good.
Someone else said I must have missed the safe sex lecture about demonic pussy in high school, 4.5 stars and a heart.
We've all been entangled with that before.
Someone said I've contracted many STDs and I never seen no ghost, 4 stars and a heart. Someone has said everyone is rating this movie in an ironic sense, right? 0.5 stars.
Okay, that's where I'm at.
Someone else said I'd be thinking of, oh fuck dude, I would rather have just given me chlamydia or even a baby, 4.5 stars.
Oh my god, a little Damien.
A little
Oh, man.
Damien. I found a couple more on just Google and Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, these are your personal?
These are my personals. Should we call these people out by name?
Yeah.
Let's make them famous. Paul Landers gave it 1 star, said, this is a real turkey of a movie. I was very disappointed as I've read so many rave reviews of this
Me
movie
too.
being really scary and terrifying.
What's his name?
Paul Landers.
Yeah, fucking Paulie. Dude, I'm right there with you. It is a turkey of a movie.
He said there was one scene at the beginning, a girl who says, I've got India, and then farts on her friends. And what's worse is that that's the most frightening moment in the movie.
I agree. Couldn't agree more.
And then here's another one. Maxine Stockton gave it 4 stars. This movie makes me laugh a bit due to the fact I see it kind of like those sex education lessons about STDs, though this time we're putting teens off of having premarital sex by saying a demon might chase them. Remember, before having sex, you need to check for any sexually transmitted diseases and always check that they aren't being followed by a demon. Perfect way to scare teenagers. This person's theory is that since the demon...
Okay, I got a question. Hold that thought real quick.
Okay.
So, do you have to have, fornication or intercourse like the normal way, God's way? Or
What is
like,
God's way?
do you, what if you do do other forms of sexual acts work? Like, going through everybody be mature, going through the back door. You're just slamming the back door. Does the entity follow you then?
Probably.
Or let's say, you're using different parts of your body, your mouth. Is it the same effect?
I mean, it's a form of sex. Oral sex.
Okay, I don't know. I was just curious.
More rules. Richard needs to know.
Okay, continue.
This person has a theory about how to defeat it. They said, wouldn't it make sense to find a very high demanded prostitute? And the demon would be very busy for years hunting down a numerous amount of people.
Well, not necessarily, because then the thing's going to transfer to one other person.
Michael Grant, 5-star.
It would be more like guys who hire prostitutes all the time.
Intense paranoia, 5 stars.
Mm-hmm.
Someone else, Kevin Jones, 5 stars, saw some of the correlation with 70s and 80s horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
And someone, this person, they had left no name, just 3 stars, said, I think herpes is the least of your worries.
Oh, well, yeah, with that fucking demon, yeah.
This person,
I wish I was left with herpes at that point.
James H., 5 stars, said, watched it many times. Even every person in his family has. Says, I can say it could also be used as a tool for your kids. And you know what I mean. Great message for kids not to have marital sex.
Is it the premarital sex? I don't know if this is the message I want to give my kid. You know what I mean?
Watch this movie. It'll scar you for life. I don't think that it would scar them.
I just don't think this would be the movie I'd show them about the birds and the bees, you know?
And then there was a good amount of reviews also that said it was just boring.
Yes, I'm right there with
them.
them.
Overrated.
Overrated.
Ba, 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 ba.
Yeah, so cool. Well, thank you for the reviews.
De nada.
Now, imagine this. I was just thinking about this.
Oh, shit.
So growing up, like, we had different horror movies that we grew up with. Nightmare on Elm Street, Chucky, were ours. Think about the people that were born around that, the young, that this was their introduction to horror. This.
It follows.
And think about like people that are, let's say, in their teens now that will be in their 30s, maybe doing a podcast, and they bring up It Follows as the scariest thing that freaked them out. I just think about that. I'm like, fuck. What are their thoughts and opinions going to be down the road? That's fucking insane.
I mean, they're going to have different idols, different realities.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom.
It's fucking crazy. So, do you think this movie's going to hold up? Apparently, it's still going strong.
I think it holds for some people.
Yeah. I mean, if you like the hardcore game of tag, this movie's for you.
Tag with your genitals.
Well, it starts with your genitals, and then you just it's not a high octane chase, but
you imagine though, just fucking always running.
So here's my other concept.
Oh Lord, no.
So the thing walks. So the thing walks to wherever you are. So let's say like she left it at the beach, and then goes back home. It walks all the way from the beach to the home, right? Well, what happens if you trek from Seattle to New York?
Okay.
It's walking all the way through there. You've got months before that fucking thing's going to come for you. And then,
vacation.
And then I'll go a step further. I know to solve your solution, fucking fly.
Europe.
Fly to the UK. The thing can't get to you. It won't cross the ocean.
Well, they never said it didn't cross the ocean.
How is it going to cross the ocean?
Walking.
It won't.
It'll sink to the bottom.
It'll go to the depths of fucking nowhere, dude. So that's what I'm saying. You can outlive it. You just got to go live in Europe.
Do you think there's
or Africa,
multiple
or
entities?
Whatever, a different continent. Huh?
You think there's multiple entities?
Nope. I think there's one.
Oh, okay.
You think he's going to call up another entity, buddy, and be like,
Bro.
yo, they're coming in your backyard.
It's out of my boundaries, different country. Yeah. I don't have my passport renewed. It's a bitch right now. There's a long wait. You get it from me. I'll get the next one, buddy.
That's all I'm saying. It's easily to escape. You could actually live a pretty good life living across country. You just got to time it right. And you could do the math. You're a smart girl. Numbers are your thing. At the speed, you can track the speed in which it's walking.
The math.
You could track the speed in which it's walking, the miles per hour, and then say, okay, it's going to take this amount of time to cover this many miles. Like, you know what I mean? You can track it out just fine.
Richard.
What?
You know our catchphrase at the end?
Yeah.
Are you ever going to explain where it came from?
Wow, let's keep it a mystery until like episode 200.
Okay.
No, you don't want to?
No, yeah. I was
Unless
just
we
remembering
get
it was
massive
funny.
people asking. Anyways, we do got to wrap this up. Oh, but before we do, we're missing a few things. One, I need your favorite kill.
Ooh, Greg and the mom.
Greg and the mom?
Yeah, the mom. That was gross.
Okay, yeah, taking like the image of his mom.
Yeah, looking like his mom raping him to death. The intertwining of the hands, I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
This line.
That's the only kill in the movie, isn't it?
No, there's a girl at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, but it doesn't show it.
And then, yeah, so they only had 2 kills.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, great, riveting stuff.
What's your favorite kill? For sure, you got 2 options. And then you gotta rate it.
I would say Greg's kill just because it was graphic. What is your rating?
I'm gonna give it a 1.7, a 2, 1.72.
It's 1.7 or 2. What?
I know. Let's round it to.
You're gonna round it up? I'd round it down. I'm giving it a 1.5.
No, I thought you were gonna go to fucking 1 or something.
No, like, dude, I'm not a complete asshole. There's some good parts of this movie.
I'll give it a 2. 2 out of 5.
You're giving it a 2 out of 5?
Mm-hmm.
I give it a 1.5 because it is beautifully shot and I love the score.
Okay.
But yeah, story left to be desired. A lot left. A lot of meat on that bone.
Maybe you'll like next week's movie better.
What is that?
I thought we were covering Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, the newest one?
The Wes Craven?
No, that's the new Nightmare. That's the last one.
Wanna.
So I'm talking about the 2011, 2012
The
one.
remake.
Yeah, the one everybody hates.
Why are you making us watch movies that everybody hates?
I actually enjoyed this one. People were shitting on it because it didn't have Robert Englund in it.
I want to see Robert Englund.
I do too, but we're gonna save that. I'm not saying this one's superior, but it's not bad. It's a pretty good movie.
If you fucking shit on it next week, I'm gonna call you out.
Listen,
Linda.
I did this one. The fans wanted to hear it.
You.
I'm sorry if I fell flat or if I came across as angry on this one, but like, dude, it's hard to bring the energy on something I didn't choose or we didn't collaborate on.
Well,
would you agree? Like, I don't know.
No, you had mentioned that you wanted to watch this because you hadn't gotten a chance to see it yet.
Yeah.
So it just got.
But I would have
kept
kept putting it off. I would have kept putting it off.
Well, and it did come off the list at one point.
It did, and we're supposed to.
We're gonna watch the good and the bad,
and even the what the fucks, and this comes down to what the fuck. But no, yeah. So I give it a 1.5. You give it a 2.
Yeah.
I guess. Do we have anything else we need to cover?
Stay tuned for next week.
Yeah. Thanks for the support. Hasta la gosi. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Horror Cinema Obsession. We hope you had as much fun as we did. If so, help spread the word by leaving a rating and review wherever you listen to podcasts. And join us next time for another episode of Horror Cinema Obsession.